Happy Friday, socialites. Welcome to the best damn social club in the universe. I am your host, Jedi ASU. And again, thank you so much for taking a moment of your Friday to be with me and my guest as we talk about whatever we got going on. And I appreciate the opportunity and the fellowship and the time to spend together. So as always, make sure you pour yourself a drink, sit back, relax, and let's get social. I didn't change the date, so let's go ahead and change the date. It is Friday, the 20th of November in our year 2020, the COVID year. Thanks again so much for joining. And again, yeah, exactly. You know what? I'm going to jump right into the main interview. Forget this introduction. You're exactly right, Brett. I should just go ahead and change the date so this way we're not. Yeah, just like jump
2020
ahead.
out.
How about this though? Because I don't know if you saw me tweet this. If Back to the Future took place today, he would travel back to 1990. Exactly. You laugh and you're like, oh.
Feel old.
I know. And this was a
Time's
big
undefeated.
I know. And we were talking about that as well. We were talking about how Arizona is doing with the Rona and the old mask mandate from Governor Ducey and everything else. And I meant to share this to you during. This is a thought that came to me this morning. Speaking of Back to the Future, it's like now I understand why we don't have flying cars. If we can't put a damn mask on, who knows what in the hell's going to happen with flying cars? So,
oh God.
Yeah, I know. Good evening, Mr. Hornstein. Always lovely to see you. That wasn't expecting ASU to be 0-3-1 this 4 games in and not getting shut out, but hopefully they're just piecing it together, or just everyone that we're playing is amazingly good and we're just getting better. I don't know.
Get well soon, Johnny Walker.
Yes, sir. Exactly. What was that? What happened again? I wasn't sure what.
They've been playing without Johnny Walker for
that's
last
it.
couple games, and when you take out one of the best goal scorers in the nation, makes a difference.
That does. Although Paul was noting that in the preview that they have enough people to make up for it, but like you said, it's definitely we're noticing it. Noticing it. So exactly. I am drinking a Rascal Hazy Double IPA from the brewing pattern right here. Got this one. It was in the wine fridge, so I said I'm gonna crack it open and give it a drink here in 2020. Pipe for Pat. How about you, man? What are you drinking?
I got a Tempranillo of some kind.
That glass is super fancy too.
Yeah, it's actually one of our fantasy football trip things. Like one of the dude goes all out, so he made a custom glass. It's kind of hard to see, but
yeah, I know
our league crest on it. Paid for beers, but since I figured I'd be here for a while, I loaded up on an extra large glass of wine.
Exactly. Well, we're not going to go too hard because, again, obviously, I have to be on game day in a short amount of hours, waking up at 4:30 local.
Social club responsibly.
That's right. See, look at this. Got the sign for y'all. Look at that. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to see me, but I don't care. At least they're able to see the sign because that's what we're going to be all about. So yes, but.
Yes, sign of like how many days it's been since Arizona's beat you ASU.
The Arizona clock, right? And just like a bunch
1,400 some odd days now.
That's okay. PJ Saturno, how are you, man? PJ is going to join us in a few minutes, give us some stuff, and then Chad Smith's got a Sam Adams Winter Lager. I remember that. It's not bad. I don't know if you've had that one, the Winter Lager.
Probably back in the old Chicago days when we would go through the World Beer
tours. That's right. Yeah, when we'd go over there. So, yeah, is that still there on Southern? Is it, or was it?
There was one there that is now something else. And then like this was like years and years ago. There was one on like 59th Avenue in Bell.
Oh wow!
Like we were like in a men's softball league, and so we would be going there after every game. But and then we also probably like 2 or 3 other times. It was like our go-to place. And like they had their thing was like the World Beer Tour. You get a card. So we got a frequent drinkers thing. Like you see every 110 unique beers counts the World Beer Tour. So you get your name on a wall, on a plaque, and with a little quote. I completed 8 of them during those years that I was kind of in that northwest side of the valley. And like they would have like some seasonal runs where like have like a St. Patrick's Day mini tour where it's just like all Irish beers, and then they'd have like a winter tour or Christmas tour or something. I'm sure I've had the Sam Adams probably more times than I remember.
Exactly. 8 times, 8 world tours. So let's what equates to how many beers? 800?
880.
880.
And so when that place closed down, like I went up there with Paige and a friend that used to go up, was one of the regulars up
Right.
there, and was able to snag all the 8 different plaques with all my different random quotes that I thought were super clever back in 2008.
That's funny.
A few of them were like just quotes from like Beer Fest or Euro Trip or whatever,
Right. That's almost, yeah, I don't want to say, yeah, that's 12 years ago. Man, that's some stuff, man. You said time is undefeated. I'm like, I hate doing that. I'm like, man. Well, because like, did you? I don't know if you saw that clip about the end. There was a little thing about after the NFL draft, and they were asking all the draftees about what year they were born, and everyone was born in '99 or 2000, and then like they didn't know NSYNC, they didn't know, someone called them the Beatles. Like, man, that's just, yeah, I know. I don't like
Like weird.
rapping.
Like I'll be like interviewing like a one of like ASU's like commits or something, and
Right.
be talking to him and realize like, oh, this guy, he was born the year I graduated college. I'm like, oh, cool, this is awesome.
That's why that's why my phrase, I graduated in the 1900s is gaining even more novelty, right? Cuz it cuz it's like it's even further and further away now. So it's like, yeah, it's like it never felt that far away.
Its own century now.
Dude, I mean, seriously. But so I know it's been crazy the past 2 weeks, obviously with no games, but you have put out some amazing content, and I'm grateful and I appreciate you for that. But I wanted to talk about the DeAndre Lewis article, which was
Mm.
brilliant. Hopefully, all of you in chat have got a chance to read it. It's out there still on is it Three Family or where is it at?
Yeah, it's on the 3TV website. You can find it at azfamily.com.
There
It's
we go.
if you go to my Twitter profile, it's my pinned
Mm-hmm.
tweet. So,
Exactly.
or just search like AZ Family or DeAndre Lewis or something. It should be one of the things up there.
That was brilliant to. I mean, we've always talked about him offline anyway, but it was actually very cool for you to kind of catch up to him. How did you get in contact with him?
I had an old number for him, which turns out didn't work.
Okay.
So, kind of networked through some of the former players.
Right on.
DK, Taylor Kelly, he came through, and
Oh, cool.
and I'd always had a good relationship with DeAndre, and during his playing days. But yeah, he just said, it was always one of those great what ifs for
Absolutely.
ASU football, and just the trajectory, and then like kind of that 2014, the way things were, he left the team,
Yeah.
and so just you know wanted to kind of find out what was going on with that situation, where he's been, the kind of the impact of that incident, but also kind of the
Right.
reverberations and the things throughout the life, and and almost in some ways it's like kind of like a secondary thing to kind of what his life became and has become, and kind of the things that the kind of the impacts that it had, and the way he was able to battle through all those
Yeah.
hardships, both kind of those physical things, but more importantly kind of the emotional scars of the incident, and
Right.
finally able to get himself in a good place. And it was really good to find out where he is in life. He's got a he's got a girlfriend that he's very much in love with.
Mm-hmm.
He has a young daughter, another one on the way.
Wow. Right
He's
on.
doing well professionally, so it was good to see that he was able to battle through.
Right on. Now, what's he is he in SoCal or is he there in Arizona?
He's actually back out in Tempe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because I saw
so
that in the article they moved back. He was working for a dealership for a little while, I guess.
yeah. So yeah, he, after his time at ASU kind of ended, he went back to Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about basically kind of a year of just like depression, of just kind of the
Yeah.
way things ended, and just the kind of, as Carl Bradford was talking about, and his best friend, just kind of like going through a lot of reliving the kind of the what ifs, and staying in his room, being real disconnected from everybody, but just
Yeah.
slowly but surely, things started to creep out a little bit better. A girl that he met during his time at Arizona, they started to talk a little bit more, and that ultimately was kind of the thing that brought him out to ASU, or
Got it.
back to Arizona, to kind of get a clean start. And thankfully from there, things just continued to be on the up and up and go well for him.
That is good to hear. That was always good to hear that one, he's doing well, obviously, but you could absolutely get a sense in the article, um, how down he was, how disconnected he would become, right? Because again, he just had a full change in personality, and everyone was trying to lift him up, right? But I guess he just had to work through that as he did, you know.
Yeah, and just like one of those things where you kind of go through those motions, like, why me? What did I do? And like
Right.
it all started just because after a great freshman season, he just goes back to visit his girlfriend and see his family back in Southern California. They're out in front of
In front of his own
his uncle's
house.
house.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then kind of mistaken identity. He gets shot, and then all of a sudden, this future that he envisioned of just like playing college ball, getting to be fulfill his dream of playing in the NFL,
Right.
all taken away from him.
Hmm.
The 2011 season goes the way he does, and he's the guy that kind of put
Right.
so much on him and felt the burden of responsibility. Like, oh, if I didn't go out selfishly to go see my family, in February,
Right.
I wouldn't have got shot.
Hmm.
The team wouldn't have struggled. Therefore, Coach Erickson, who is very close to,
Right.
wouldn't have got fired. So, like, he put all that weight on
Wow.
himself and just kind of weighed him down. He and Coach Graham and Norvell just, they never really were able to
Right.
click, and difficulties there. And so, just, living with these kind of what ifs and the burdens that he kind of put on himself, just kind of built up year after year until, kind of that year after ASU, it was just kind
Hmm.
of basically like full on kind of depression. He would spend days on end in his room, not talking to anybody. The people that loved him, trying to, hey, here's a job opportunity. You want, or hey,
Of
you want to
course.
come help and coach, anything. And but it was finally in his own time and through the circumstances where he was able to kind of break through. But
Right.
and I talked to Coach Erickson and for the piece, and he's seen it a couple times, kind of, back in his Miami days. He's had a couple players that
Okay.
have dealt with getting shot and,
Mm.
having their athleticism, their athletic, that side of them that, for most of these guys, their entire lives are kind of defined by them as
Right.
the athlete. And then when that is taken away, then all of a sudden there's a void and a kind of identity
Absolutely.
crisis.
That must have
And
been huge, yeah, because like you're just
yeah,
like that's my everything. And even then, it was funny the way you wrote it, right? It's like he didn't even identify with football; it was more, basketball. It was, I mean, he was very athletic, obviously, but it was
yeah, that
basketball.
was basketball was his first love. And he's like, yeah, I would have loved to keep playing basketball, but I stopped growing. So
But he
yeah, I don't
could
think that
still,
made it in there. He had a good quote in there about just kind of, how basketball ended, but then it was kind of also at the same time he realized he was really good at football.
yeah, exactly. And he was actually originally on the defensive side, which was actually cool to read, right? He was on, but then he kind of moved,
Oh
or
yeah, he kind of, he's playing all over. Yeah, he played some defense, was playing running back. Obviously he's always kind of like the fastest kid on whatever team he played.
right?
But then, yeah, once he got to Norco, his high school, um, like that, which was like kind of they had the lineage of like dominant backs, like
Yeah,
Toby Gerhart, the Heisman runner up, it just was like a year or two removed from there by the
right.
time he got there. And in their offense, like they had the kind of the single back,
Hmm.
and DeAndre started as wing back, and the offensive coordinator, Alan Kruger, who ultimately would take DeAndre and Carl Bradford in, and they lived with them.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yep, that's right.
yeah, and so he was the offensive coordinator, and he's like, I don't know if DeAndre has what it takes to be the single back. 'Cause, I mean, wing back, might be good for speed, but like
Right.
single back, you got to be a different breed. You got to be that guy. And then, in the piece, kind of talked about it, just how DeAndre was able to kind of show the maturity,
Hmm.
kind of dig in and show that he ultimately could become, that special type player and, have the high school career that he did.
That was crazy. That was actually just brilliant. How story of how talking about how they were in their high school days, right? Because I always thought Carl Bradford went the JUCO route. I thought that's what did I misunderstand that or
Yeah, he never went JUCO.
okay,
Yeah, he played at Norco, and so Norco had like a three-headed running back attack with DeAndre as kind of lead guy. I think there's his senior year, he had like 2,300 yards, 30
wow,
touchdowns or
okay,
something. Kelsey Young was another standout back. He had like over 1,000 yards rushing that year. He ultimately went on to play at Stanford,
mm,
and then Carl Bradford was kind of like the bruiser of the group.
right,
He had I think that senior year of like 2009. Bradford had like 800 yards, but like 15, 16
Mm.
touchdowns. He was like the thumper. Um,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
and Tennessee was like really after Carl Bradford in terms of playing fullback. And if
Oh,
you actually go back
interesting.
and look at Carl Bradford's like recruiting profiles, like his old rivals or whatever, he's listed as a fullback, not as like a defensive end or linebacker,
Oh,
which he ultimately
interesting.
became at Arizona State. But yeah, so in talking to Erickson, he talked about how once he was DeAndre popped on the radar, like Carl Bradford was like, oh, this is pretty good dude. And so
Right.
DeAndre and Carl, like once they got the opportunity to play together or have the opportunity to get offers from the same school, I mean that was kind of a big deal because
Right.
like Oregon was really after DeAndre. They wanted him to play
Oh, it's
defense
cool.
initially,
Yeah.
but they had no interest in Carl Bradford, and
Mm.
so it was kind of a thing. So, but
They were a traveling pair. That's funny.
yeah, it's like wasn't a hard and fast thing. Like wasn't necessarily a package deal, but once that package opportunity came, it's like, whoa,
There
hey,
was
I
no
mean,
question about it.
that's
That's excellent.
yeah,
That's brilliant. And and so I love that article because it also it just all your pieces just have a wonderful way of just painting that picture and just seeing how successful they are now. And he's enjoying himself. He has a good family and he's doing well. So that's and I love seeing that for him. Obviously, I know all the fans appreciate that. So that's thank you for that. And you've mentioned something, and again, please remind me because again, my brain is Swiss cheese. You've talked with Coach Erickson. Have you done a piece on Coach Erickson, or are you working on one? Because we talked and I can't remember.
No, yeah. So I did talk to Coach Erickson. I interviewed him for this article. I don't have any plans for on kind of like a standalone piece, although that
Okay,
might hey, maybe I should. But
done.
and
Please,
that was
I'm asking. I'm requesting.
um, so actually, but that was kind of one of the big takeaways that I in working on the DeAndre feature of just kind of because I think ASU fans and maybe myself included because kind of my first year covering ASU was credential was 2011,
Oh
and
wow.
so
Okay,
it
cool.
was ultimately his final year where they came
Right.
in with so much hype and everything, and then you saw kind of a bunch of the cracks in the program kind of
Mm-hmm.
show itself and kind of exacerbate over the year, and ultimately his dismissal. So I think
Right.
fans might get an idea of and I know I've on like a podcast I think I've used the phrase this inmates running the asylum in terms of the discipline issues within the
Right.
program and such. But one thing that doing the piece really kind of opened my eyes to more so than some things I've heard over the years is that like the players adore Dennis Erickson, and when the players coach, I mean, can be taken a number of ways, but they
Right.
love Coach Erickson, and like he's a guy that like a lot of coaches might say they'll I look at my at coaches or I look at my players like my own sons, I treat them like family or something.
The Clay
But
Helton
one
quote.
of the
Yeah, I remember that. He said that.
and so like one of the big things in the DeAndre story was like after DeAndre got shot and and Coach Erickson learned about this and after he learned okay he's okay, he's alive,
Right.
it's not life threatening or anything of that nature. He reached out and made sure that it was to DeAndre and the family that it was clear that even if he never played another down, that his scholarship was taken care of.
Yes.
Even like because some schools, if you can't play, your value to the school is not exactly.
Right.
And so Coach Erickson said that even if I have to pay for it out of my own pocket, I will personally guarantee that DeAndre's
Right.
education is 100% cared for
That was
or covered.
amazing.
And so just like, and then and talking to so many other players who played for Erickson, they kind of echo that sentiment of just like how he kind of walk the walk of
Okay.
as well as talk the talk of like these players are my family. I treat them like my sons. I will do anything for them. And years later, you still when you talk to them and you bring up Coach Erickson's name, you hear the tone and the voice change,
Interesting.
and just like with a tone of reverence and true love for that man. So while things unfortunately did not end on a positive note
Right.
with on the field in terms of leading the Sun Devil program in a positive direction. The impact he made on those individuals' lives is certainly something that still reverberates to this day.
See, I think that's going to be a brilliant piece because I mean, you would just be, you could, I don't know how many words the DeAndre article was, and I know that, it's always in the thousands, but I mean, I bet you could talk to a lot of players that would give you a lot of amazing insights about Coach Erickson. So I think it's just, like you said, I agree with you. I was the same exact way. I was just didn't appreciate, you know, who Coach Erickson was a person and what he was able to do for the players. Just because again, it's all wins and losses, but again, it's just that's the kind of insight that I guess we can appreciate now looking back. So that's why it'd be an exciting
Yeah,
story
it's
to
like,
hear.
the things that these years later, like he doesn't, keep up with the players in terms of just like, how well they're doing on the field or with football. It's just like, are you happy? Are you doing well in life? How's your
Yeah,
family? How are your children? How are is your career going? Just like, those things that, you know, developing, the relationship as young men is
right.
the primary as opposed to, kind of the football. But it's yeah, that's certainly interesting because obviously he's a guy that's got a couple of national championship rings,
Hmm.
and going from all the college level to the NFL a couple times and
Right.
back, and yeah, it's certainly
He was always a
what was
proven.
it, most recently at the Alliance of the AAF for with the Salt Lake
Exactly. He
team,
was
I
there for
think.
a little while before it shuttered, and I mean, he was a brilliant, proven to be another brilliant recruiter for Utah because he brought all kinds of kids in.
Yeah,
So he proved that as well. So he still has an eye for that talent. So is he still? Where's he at? Is he still in Idaho or Montana? Where is he based at?
he's retired right now.
But where
Yeah.
though?
Oh, I don't know where
Okay,
he's
got it.
currently living, but yeah.
Because I always
I,
thought he always lived in the Pacific Northwest. I just don't know which state it was. And so that's why I was always like, okay. So yes, he's clearly retired, but I just wasn't sure where he decided to settle down. He's been out. I think Miami was the one job that was the farthest east for him. I don't think he took any other job that farther east, right? Because he coached Seattle and he coached the Niners, right?
yeah,
And it was Oregon State and then
Oregon State,
Arizona
Idaho.
State, Idaho, the Vandals for a little. He was there. He was at the Vandals right before us, right?
I think yeah, that like the 1 year.
Right, and then he was at Utah for a little while. So I don't think
Yeah,
now
their
that
running backs coach.
yep, he was able to bring. I think is he the who was a running back last year? Oh God, not Ross. Who was it that Utah's running back last year?
Oh, last year Utah? Yeah,
Yeah,
Zach Moss.
Zach Moss. So he was one of those. Like he brought in like three of those guys. I always give
Yeah,
Utah
those Florida connections, which
exactly. I always give Utah fans that shit for that. It's like you know what, you wouldn't have them if we didn't let him go. So you say thank you. Say thank you. Exactly. That's right. Exactly, Chad. He did bring Zach Moss to Utah, so that was him. The next one was the Remy Martin interview. How long did that take you to get on the chart on the table? Because
oh, not too long. Like
okay,
Doug Tamaro at ASU is real great. And so he facilitates those pretty quick. Yeah, and so like I had done one with Remy prior to
okay,
last season. It went really well. I mean, Remy is an awesome dude, super
yeah,
interesting. Has a ton of interest. Obviously beyond basketball, and he's got humanitarian, charitable aspirations, and so real
that's
cool guy to
cool.
talk to. And so yeah, just wanted to his story, his off season of exploring the NBA draft, getting that feedback, everything was just kind of that process being impacted by the pandemic, and then ultimately
Right,
coming back and taking one last year of just kind of his return on top of all the other returning talent and incoming talent, just really kind of makes it something special.
it's funny too because he could still technically have another year of eligibility if he
Yeah.
really wanted to stay. So, which would be awesome. I don't know if that would be. I mean, it'd be crazy if like that's kind of what I'm hoping on the football team as well. But I'd love to see that on the basketball team where where the players just kind of like enough. If enough games get canceled, they just realize like, look, I'm just going to go ahead and stay another and play and potentially a full season 21-22 because at least this way it'll help a little bit
Yeah, I
more.
mean, you wonder if that'll happen with football. Just if you got just for example, we talked about on the the podcast this week of like
Right.
Frank Darby of he had got dinged in the opener,
Hmm.
wasn't able to play, get a couple cancellations, maybe have another one or two, and then you're not able to put enough on film to really feel confident that I've
Exactly.
elevated my draft stock as much as I believe I can do so.
Hmm.
So put in another year and come back strong for a full slate in 2021. And yeah, and basketball too with the NCAA giving that to the winter athletes as well.
Right.
I talked to Holland Woods today, and the transfer guard who there was speculation: would he have to sit out? Would he be able to get
Yes.
immediately eligible? If he was immediately eligible, would he want to burn that year with such a loaded backcourt already in place? But now that he has that basically a free year,
Hmm.
so yeah, the roster management in this in the NCAA is going or college sports next year is going to be.
It's gonna
It's
be,
gonna be
yeah.
wild.
I mean, I don't know how they're gonna be able to do it
The free
because of
transfer rule goes into effect, so yeah, it's gonna be madness.
it's gonna like how. And again, there's no increase on scholarship counts either, right?
Yeah, so it's gonna be one of those things like everybody doesn't. I mean, their eligibility is kind of frozen, but that doesn't necessarily mean the team can have you back. But like
Yeah,
a guy like Darby or like a Remy Martin, like yeah, they're gonna definitely want you back. So it's and then yeah, I mean, and you see it just kind of the scholarship numbers and maybe ASU trimming the fat a little bit in recruiting.
right.
Of just like keeping some spots open for potential transfers. I mean,
Yep.
because once that rule goes into place where you can transfer and be immediately eligible. Whew, I mean, that's free
Yeah.
agency at the college level.
True free agency, right? Because everyone's like, okay, I'm not, and that's the other. I think Ralph brought it up too. It's like, okay, how are you going to prevent coaches from coaching players, right? Mentioning, oh, you're not getting playing time. Well, you can play here, right? So, and doing that as well. So that's always going to be a very interesting
Yeah.
wrinkle about that. And it was funny the way you started the interview with Remy. He was like, how you doing? It's like, I don't know. He was like, relative. I was like, I don't know. I mean, I just, I tried. I've been working out, but I'm not sure entirely sure if he's 100%, which is a fair answer, right?
I mean, this year takes a toll on everybody, but yeah, I mean they seem like they're ready to go, and they're kind of they're chomping at the bit to get it underway, and
Right.
I mean starting the season off against the number 2 team in the country next Wednesday
Yes,
is a
sir.
hell of a way to do it, but
Absolutely. That is there at
should
Mohegan
be good.
Sun on the East Coast, right?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
they leave Monday, and so yeah,
Yeah.
they'll head back and face Baylor on Wednesday night.
Exactly. So now there was a Snapchat capture of Remy in a party bus. Did you see that?
I did, and I
Okay.
not on Snapchat, so yeah.
It wasn't on Snapchat. Someone captured it
Oh.
and they tweeted it. Yeah, I think Poppy had it too, and I'm like, he even tweeted, what is it, WYD Remy, what you doing? So I'm like,
Uh-oh.
so yeah, I know that would be a downer if anything, if it just like with the football team, if something came in from the outside to just bring the castle down, that would be a real pisser.
The margin for error is pretty much
There,
non-existent.
there is none, right? You can't, and I mean, it's fascinating how other teams. I mean, there's already been college teams canceling some of their early games. College basketball teams already call
Utah
canceling.
basketball just shut their program down tonight.
No, really, I just
Yeah,
missed that. I must have missed it.
they're on pause now because of all that stuff.
Well, Utah thinks they're invincible, right? They always run around. If you watch the news, I mean, they're running around thinking it's a hoax or something else. So that doesn't surprise me, unfortunately. But um, yeah, but there's been other ones back east that have shut down as well. So, and actually, it's not even shutting down; that they just they've canceled their first 3 or 4 games. So that's always kind of crazy to be able to see. But they leave Monday. They travel in Wednesday. Was there, and I may have missed this in the interview. Was there any description of what kind of thing they have to deal with? Like, are they doing a bubble while they're there, or did Remy know, or have you seen anything to that effect?
No, but I'm assuming like they've got the kind of the same strict protocols in place of just trying to make sure that they're doing the right thing and
Right,
going through testing masks and distancing all that stuff, and they kind of realize that they're walking a pretty fine line of trying to do this, and combined with their expectations for this upcoming season, they
right,
they're making sure that they are going to try to make sure that they don't squander that. Hopefully,
right,
playing
exactly.
party bus shenanigans or whatever.
If that's what it is, you may just have to dig that one up. And Paul Hornstein just shared that Ivy's canceled all winter sports. I don't know when that happened. Did that happen recently or this earlier
I
this
think that
week?
happened a week or two
Yeah, it
ago,
did,
and
right?
if you remember, like they were the first ones to cancel fall sports. So
Yes, I remember that.
all the smart people getting out ahead of it. I don't know. Maybe
Well,
what
they
does that
canceled,
say?
but didn't they cancel their tournament first, even back in March, right?
Maybe.
They may have done that too, but you're right. It's like they all decided to pull the trigger on all that either, as well. So they're doing. They may know something. Hey, you know what it is? It's probably all the Illuminati send their kids to all the Ivies. So this is why they're like giving them insight. It's like, okay, so then all us,
Got it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's all Illuminati and conspiracy theory and all that other stuff. But yes, so before we get into the Speak of the Devils podcast, anything else that Remy shared that caught your, or I guess I can't ask that question, but anything else that Remy caught your you wanted to highlight, right? Other than because I mean, I listened to it. I actually gave half a listen because I had to move. But what other did you want to highlight in that video that's or in the pod that someone should like kind of pay attention to?
Yeah, so I would say I'll encourage folks to head over and on the Speak of the Devil's feeds of wherever you get your podcasts. I think it's well worth your time. But yeah, I mean, there's kind of he talked about kind of open up about going through the process and of exploring the draft and the support he got from the coaching staff in terms of everything he could do, and then just
Right,
kind of the feedback he got from on the NBA at the NBA level, the things they were looking for him to be, maybe from a facilitator, and can he be a guy that can lead a team. And so he can, one of the things he wants to do prove is like he can be kind of that on court leader that really is not just kind of gets his guys rallied up, but like actually is able to put that into you know translating that into a
hmm
lot of wins, making a deep run, being a guy that can be have those display what his intangibles that he feels that he has, and
got it.
is able to kind of put those on in a showcase for scouts at the next level.
Absolutely. I did, and you had to go to see. Okay, that makes sense. And so, yeah, that's. I wanted to get that one done, but I had to make sure I had everything and completed before we talked today because I was scrambling around all week. But I'm glad you're. No, I wanted to highlight that because I know it's always when we're not getting content. It's almost like a super extended off season, right? You're not getting anything from not a lot from ASU, right? So being able to develop all this content that you're able to is brilliant, and I'm sure a lot of people are very, very appreciative of that as well.
And the new one will be dropping Monday with Holland Woods.
That's gonna be good. That's actually you shared that tidbit. I don't know if you want to spoil that tidbit that you shared while we were pre gaming, but if it's in the article, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, so they'll be dropping in the feeds. Speak of the Devil's feeds, another sit down series episode with Holland Woods. Grew up in Glendale, played for Apollo, went to Portland State, rewrote their record books.
Right,
And one of the things that was kind of funny is like when he decided, like, all right, I'm heading to my senior year. I want I want to have some bigger things. I want to so he didn't necessarily say I'm going to leave Portland State because he was still like maybe I'll come back. We still got some players, but he explored the options of like where can I go, and coming back home to Arizona and playing for Arizona State was near the top of his list. And when he was talking about when he was in the process of putting his stuff in the transfer portal to so he could have that dialogue with
right,
prospective programs. He was like, please let ASU call, please let ASU call, please let ASU call. 5 minutes, once his stuff got live, he gets a call from Rashawn Burno, Hurley's right hand man, and it was like, oh man, decide if they offer me right now, I'm gonna commit, I'm gonna commit. But he did his due diligence,
of
and
course,
but ultimately, of course, Arizona State won out. So, this is a really exciting guy. Talented scorer, talented passer. Father was one of the youngest Harlem Globetrotters in history, so he's got basketball is in his DNA.
right,
And he's a guy that when he transferred was could he be just kind of sit out the year with all this loaded backcourt, then be the guy next year? But now he's
right,
going to have with this Rosen eligibility. I mean, he can play both years now.
exactly.
So it should be interesting. It was a really good, interesting conversation. So that'll be dropping in folks' feeds on Monday morning.
That's very no. That's gonna be always a wonderful listen to be able to hear that and see. Now, was he ever offered? Was he offered originally?
He was not.
Okay.
He was actually leaning UC Santa Barbara out of high
Hmm.
school. They had a coaching change. Then he committed to Portland State, and once he got there, like they had a coaching change like right there. So he's like,
Hmm.
"Oh, come on!" But he was convinced to
Oh, and
stay,
now
and I
he's
think
here
he's
at
like,
ASU. Coaching changes always move him.
yeah. And yeah, so he finally got there. Was like I think Big Sky like freshman of the year.
Hmm.
Was all conference first team last season. He's like the all-time leader in assists and steals,
Right.
top five in scoring. Like dude's a baller. So I
That's
know a lot of folks are talk about Remy, Alonzo, Marcus Bagley, Josh Christopher, but don't forget
exactly.
about a guy like Colin Woods.
That's the other thing too. I think it's just it's what is it? It's just a blessing of riches that ASU has this year that we're able to go through, right? And just okay, let's just absorb everything that's going to happen. Hopefully, everything does happen.
Yeah,
That's
wear your
gonna.
mats, people. Let the season happen.
That's the other thing too. It's like, where's everyone wearing? I mean, it's like, okay, where else are we going to have these games? Because I'm very curious to know how they're going to run these pods. It's like who are they traveling with, where are they going, how are they going to run it over there, and everything else. Especially with it's not. And again, the testing isn't hit and miss. It's actually very solid because it's definitely ratting everyone out who hasn't been keeping their nose clean. Because every single team is like, because I think it was US. Who was it? USC and Oregon State are the only teams that haven't had a delay.
Yeah, and I think Oregon they have not missed a game, but they had a Friday game switched to a Saturday or something. But
Right.
like yeah, I think or like yeah, you said like Oregon State and USC are the only two who played like everything as initially intended, but
Exactly. Which
the season doesn't count.
is it? It doesn't.
It doesn't
Okay,
matter.
I know. It's always tough, because I always always getting invested in some form or another. But I'm grateful for teams like Indiana. Thank God they're doing well.
Yes,
They make it fun. Did
9 Indiana,
in coastal Carolina,
Coastal or San Jose State,
San Jose.
San Jose.
I am so excited for them. I'm hoping that we get to go see games because I'm actually going to go see some games down in San Jose now.
Brennan's doing a great job
He's
up there.
awesome. It's just like last year there was some buzz, but then this year they're just doing so well. I'm a believer.
Did you listen to I don't know if you listened to, but I will recommend the Split Zone Duo podcast.
No, go ahead.
It's a great podcast. It's basically the spirituals. It's basically the sequel podcast to Podcast Ain't Played Nobody.
Okay,
So it's got Stephen Godfrey, Richard Johnson, and Alex Kirshner.
cool.
Same crew. And so and like those guys, they really kind of dig deep. They know what they're talking about.
Okay.
And they talk a lot of G5, and so they did
Oh,
they did a lot of I mean, they love Coastal. They're on the Coastal bandwagon. They've talked Coastal a lot on the recent eps,
cool.
but in this most recent episode they talked a lot about San Jose State and did a dive on. And
Really?
Godfrey's one maybe my favorite kind of national college football guy, and so
Okay.
he's so plugged in and kind of all the coaching inner workings, and he did a nice conversation about kind of like the challenges that of leading that program, the job that Brennan's done, and so
Right.
it's really super interesting. And 4-0. I mean, because San Jose State's one of those programs that for years was just like not just a Mountain West doormat, but just like when you talk about like, oh, what are the 10 worst programs in the country?
Absolutely.
And
Always
you're like,
2-10.
yeah.
Always.
So like New Mexico State, San Jose State, somewhere in there, UMass, and then but yeah,
Yeah.
now 4-0. They got Trey Walker. I'm on the Trey Walker bandwagon since last year. Like super exciting wide receiver.
Right.
Yeah, just they're good solid football.
It is. I mean, it's just and it's like unlike that Cal UCLA game, they're fun to watch,
Yeah,
right? Because I
yeah,
mean, and it wasn't until I heard the Pac-12 Apostles podcast that I realized that's what was wrong. That UCLA Cal game was boring. I was like, man, why aren't I into this, right? And I'm
it
like,
was bad football.
it was just not pretty. I'm like, man, Cal, I was
I mean,
cheering for you.
it was what happened. I mean, you got one team that hasn't been able to like fully practice in a couple of weeks, and they get
Yeah,
shifted to a Sunday with less than 40 hours to prepare for opponent. I mean, it's going to be a train wreck. And I mean, I mean that's why kind of this whole. I said people should just put as much stock into the results of the season as like they would like a Cactus Bowl or whatever it's called now.
well, the
Just
win
like
is a
just
win and a loss is a
yeah, a
loss.
win's great, wonderful, but if they just don't get caught up in it. It's not
Yeah, I
worth it.
know, and I think
It's
that's
not. There's no value in it.
unfortunate. I got to figure out how to do that because I still get emotionally invested in it. So I have to be able to distance
There's just
myself.
one game that counts, and hopefully it gets played for the Sun Devils this year.
All you got to do is keep promoting that tweet, man. Just like cancel everything else and just have the territorial cup and then shut it down.
Do it.
That would be
Bubble
good.
up, play the cup.
Put it on a shirt. Bubble up, play the cup. Put it on a.
Unintentional rhyme. There you
That's
go.
right.
Yeah.
There you go. Now you can put it on a shirt. That's all you. Yes, Paul Hornstein again. It's like Chad Smith. We are a basketball school, which is actually always interesting to say. And then the Chanticleer threads are.
Triathlon school.
Yep. And then Paul says, "Love the Chanticleer threads because they always get some good combos."
Yeah.
And it's like that.
That's the tomorrow's game of the week is like not joking, not being kind of tongue in cheek cute. Tomorrow's game of the week is Coastal Carolina App State.
Is App State that good though?
App State's good. They're
Are
always
they?
good.
Okay, they are always good, but I wasn't sure how they were this year because I was like,
I mean, they're maybe not at the peak of their powers. But they're still a good team, and like that kind of winner of that game might be kind of in line to
right.
book a ticket to the Sun Belt title
Are they
game.
is it App State or at Coastal?
I think it's a Coastal.
Oh, okay. What's it?
I mean, Coastal's so like they're so fun to watch. I mean, their
They
offense is
are.
so innovative in the way that they, kind of use space and kind of get their, especially they use their backs in the pass game. Grayson McCall, I think since we've been on that bandwagon since that weird late
Since week
game
one.
against Kansas.
Even then, before that, it was like he was always again. It was the Chanticleers versus the Camels. I was like, damn, this is a good matchup. That was week one.
Yeah, it was weird like that. But when Campbell was like that sacrificial lamb for the first couple weeks of the
Yeah,
season, but except they were actually almost beat like
they
they
were
almost beat
like
like
they're
Georgia
scaring the
Southern.
hell out of people.
Yeah, they almost beat Southern, and so yeah, but like the job Jamie Chadwell's done at Coastal's been pretty good.
I
Now
love.
now people are talking about him for the South Carolina
I
job, which
know exactly. I'm hoping it's Billy Napier though. I'd love to see him up in South Carolina.
I don't know if you take that job. Like he can, I think like the Napier's going to be in the SEC. It's just like, do you want like maybe
Do
be
you
a little
think he
more
likes
picky?
being? Do you think he likes being more south? Then you think that's a little too far north for him?
I just don't know if that's a job that's going to be conducive to great success. 'Cause, I
Mm,
mean, historically, South Carolina has been bad. I mean, like
for a
the
while,
Spurrier
yeah.
years, they were strong, but other than that, I mean, they've not been a great program.
They've
There's some
never had a natty,
challenges.
right? They don't
Hmm?
have a natty, do they?
No, I mean
No.
they've been a pretty bad program. I mean, like you have to fight. Now we have to fight Clemson for recruits in that
Yeah.
area. I mean, you're in a tough division in the SEC or in a tough conference in general. But I mean, I think that Billy Napier's star is going to keep rising. I mean, I think he can hold out for a
Okay.
better job,
Elsewhere.
and especially with a I don't know, like with South Carolina's when it running at a $50 million deficit, and now they've got to pay Muschamp 13.3.
Wow.
Like, I don't know. Napier is a great coach. I mean, he would have been. I think he would have done a good job at Arizona State. But
Yes.
if I'm him, I maybe wait a little bit.
He's just gonna hang out. That's fair. That's fair. Because I mean, yeah, because it's always really gonna take over for Coach O. You think he would take over at LSU?
Oh, maybe that whole LSU situation now with the sexual assault investigations and the
Yeah.
cover-ups, like that's ugly.
You know what it is? It's as ugly as Michigan State, and look what they're doing. Nothing happened.
And that definitely takes the shine off that whole Coach O thing.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Like,
It definitely does. And you texted me or you DM'd me a nasty rumor. No, still no legs to it. Then don't you? We don't have to talk about it. But you DM'd me about
oh, that one?
yeah,
Yeah, no.
nothing.
That was one of our
Okay,
our folks got that from a certain thing, and yeah,
someone they knew, and it's like it wasn't, but it doesn't have any legs,
yeah,
so we
like
won't
they
talk
it
about it.
was from a good. They got it from a good source, but
Interesting.
as of right now, so
As it well, it could still happen, but anyway. And what it is
2020, all things are possible, good and
exactly.
bad.
And for all of you on there, 46 minutes into the November 20th episode, if it happens, then we will point to you at this timestamp, and we'll tell you this is exactly what we were talking about. But yes, but that was, and so, yeah, so like I said, there's ain't nothing going to happen there, but I had a whole train of thought, and I was, oh, yes, in the chat, they're doing rest in peace, Cheez It Bowl, rest in peace, Aloha Bowl, or the Hawaii Bowl. I think what other bowls should we pour one out for? The
Didn't ASU win a salad bowl?
long time ago, 1959 or something like that. I think that was one.
Insight.com
The
bowl?
Insight.com Bowl, that was crazy. The Copper Bowl down down there, that was always good. What else was there? What other ones? Oh, what was that one with the lawnmower? Which one was that?
Bad Boy Mowers?
Thank you.
Gasparilla Bowl?
That one is the one. Poinsettia is still out. Poinsettia is still out there. Yeah,
I think they
Poinsettia is
killed the
still.
poinsettia.
Okay.
I think San Diego just went down to the Holiday a while back.
Yeah,
They
and
should, other than if they get to the play, like to the point where there's actually going to be playoff game, keep those bowls, kill everything else. There's no goddamn sense in
no
playing
reason to play
a
them.
bowl game. Like, are you gonna put like the potato bowl or whatever it's called up in? Is that worth playing in this climate? Come on,
Oh,
guys.
even what is, I don't know what the hell the Craft Fight Hunger Bowl is now here in the Bay Area, whatever the hell it's.
ASU 2012 champs.
That was good. I mean, they did brilliant there, but I mean, I just can't remember what it's called now.
It was the red box
Okay. Oh,
bowl,
maybe it will be the red box. What is it? The red box
red
plus
box
free
live TV
TV, whatever
plus.
the the bread. Brought to you by Pac-12.
I still have never heard of Zumo
All
or
three of them.
whatever.
I mean, it's like I had a Samsung TV
Whoa.
and I never saw Samsung Plus. I'm like, I don't
Yeah,
even know.
I don't know, man. There's somebody, yeah, the guy at work came up and said talking about how he's got a Samsung TV. Never heard of it. Maybe he's got
Never.
it. I don't know. Maybe.
Like I said, I had a Samsung TV right before, and the carpenters, the actually the guys that were laying down the hardwood, they dropped something on it and ruined it. So it took a little bit off the overall price of the installation and everything. But yeah, even then, I don't even know if there was a Samsung Plus. It's like that's not the technology we were hoping for.
Somebody tweeted me when I because I quote tweeted the initial like Sports Business Journal thing, which is like I genuinely have never heard of any of these services.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I apologize if for tuning in or whatever, but like they said something along the lines of like, well, Samsung has is in this many homes, and if they expand to mobile, then that's potential of like like I forget the number. It was like maybe like 54 million or something
Right.
new people. Like that's cool. Maybe like come on, like right now when you're in enough dire straits, like you gotta if you're Larry Scott or anybody in a leadership capacity of this company, you
Exactly.
gotta play it. You gotta get. You can't just
You
go
have to be
on.
shooting high, and he's not. He found it's like the seafood partnership and the bank
Yeah.
partnership. He was like there was some low hanging fruit, and he's like, oh, I can get these. I can negotiate these.
Is anybody talking about yay the Pac-12 content is coming to any of these services? No, everybody is talking about what the hell are
Who
these
in the
services.
hell are these people? Much less, how
That,
do I get them?
if that's the overriding narrative, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah,
You're supposed to
exactly,
create buzz of just like, hey, we're now expanding our content, and you can see Pac-12 stuff here in all these
exactly.
exciting places. Not people shouldn't have to Google what the hell it is you're launching.
Exactly. Well, let's come back to that. Let's 8:06. It's top of the hour. I think PJ is going to join us. We're going to take a quick bio break. Make sure you get yourself a new drink and refill. I am going to go check up on the Padawans. I heard some thumping upstairs, so I got to go ahead. But everyone, let's go ahead and give ourselves 10 minutes. We'll come back about 8:16, 8:20. So go ahead and take yourself a break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the 42 Social Club, and we are doing obviously our new segment, Crafty's Beer of the Week, and you get to see all the super adjustments that I am making here, so this way it aligns for you all pretty. Now you get to go ahead and do your pirouette twirl again. Show everyone your shirt, Crafty. Look at that. And that is going to be available soon, I believe, so everyone will be able to enjoy that one. As part of everything else. So, as always, it looks like it's going along. It looks like the stream is going up. So, if at any point in time it chokes for anyone, please let me know so I can restart it. But it appears to be okay on my side. Um, what are the beers you got for us this week? You should probably do 2 weeks since you were out last week. But
Well, I'll have to go grab another one, but I'm actually pretty excited about this one. It's from Arizona's newest brewery, Kitsune Brewing,
okay,
which is the only Black-owned brewery in Arizona, and it's the newest one as well. Tyler Smith is the owner of it. They're brewing out of Simple Machine Brewing, which is another fairly new brewery. They're on the northwest side
okay,
of town, and this is called the Forager IPA. It's a hazy IPA, Galaxy, Mosaic, and Citra hops.
Oh wow!
And I'm drinking it out of my Pints for Pat 2020 glass.
Salud, same thing.
Enough to get, yeah. Cheers. So Kitsune apparently is folklore, Japanese folklore, I guess, for red fox or some sort of superpower fox spirit that has many tails or something. So I learned something.
That's very cool.
Just to make sure I could pronounce it right, I was curious. Kitsune. So
that's interesting too, because I read a recent graphic novel called Monstrous, and that was one of the reoccurring things where they have a lot of cats with multiple tails. So I'm wondering if that's along the same lines.
With multiple tails. So.
That's very cool. And then the kanji, the Japanese text on the can, is that what it is?
Yeah, it looks like it.
It's just two lines.
Just two lines on there. It has the name. Oh, there's a little bit of art on the side here with the Kitsune company stuff. It's got a little mention on there of Simple Machine Brewing.
Okay.
So he's renting some space out of there and just kind of getting started, but absolutely delicious.
Wonderful.
Really hazy IPA. You know, they've got a handful of beers, looks like, from online. So I haven't had a chance to get out there yet, but looking forward to it. So
how'd you find them?
Good stuff as well. Just kind of had read about it, and when I go to the same beer store, you know, once every week or two, and really nice family there, and they try to support as many local breweries, and you know, they have a lot of out of state stuff as well. That you know, it's hard to get, or you know, the more really focused on craft beer.
Very cool.
7th Street and Union Hills. So
outstanding. And so now, looking at that can, it's a beautiful can. Are there bottles or cans that you save, like just for the pure artwork?
I probably only have a few, and I think they're kind of more for the. Remembering I was at Russian River Brewing, and they selling some of their bottles that they've aged themselves. So bought one of those, and it has a sticker on it and a label like how old it was. And so I've started aging my own of their stuff on some of their bottles. So I've seen a few of those and a few cans of beers that have, you know, maybe a special meaning or something, but not too many.
Right on. That's because always one that I always saw was the Stone Enjoy Afters, but I never had one long enough to enjoy after, right? Because you had to let it age for a while. I'm like, I'm going to drink it anyway.
Usually not too long, but
yeah, exactly. So, but that's it. How about so? So now yours? Where is your beer from, Brad?
Oh, it's just a Tempranillo wine.
Oh, okay. You're doing
no beer, but I have no idea where it's from. It's just Paige
all right.
picked up a bottle, and I like Spanish wines, so there we go.
I had a Barbera, I think, last night, so opened it randomly, and I'm like, all right. But then this one, I'm doing another hazy IPA tonight, so I'm trying to figure out. I guess I'm probably gonna have to. Shoot, I don't know where I'm gonna find a Guinness at this hour, but I'm probably gonna have to do one. So this way, the 42 shows up, on
I,
game day
yeah,
tomorrow. But then again, maybe I'm not supposed to be holding this up during game day, even if it is orange juice, right? So
signs are great though.
say it again.
Your signs are
Thank
fantastic.
you. Yeah, I was like, there was only one that I was missing. I wanted to see that. I wanted to get a higher resolution of that Step Brothers photo of Herm and Coach Hurley, but one of the way that picture's taken, it looks like Coach Hurley has like a glass eye. So I'm like, okay. So I didn't want to use it, and people all thinking, what's wrong with Coach Hurley's eye? I'm like, nah, I don't want to. And so and Ralph and Rez's V2 was it was pretty crazy. Herm Edwards had you know what is it, Will Ferrell's whatever it is. Will Ferrell's hair is, but anyway, he did well. So, anything else that you're drinking, or what else you want to share with us, PJ? What you got going on?
I've gotten a shipment from the East Coast, so I've had
Okay.
a lot of Treehouse Brewing stuff. Got a few things I haven't tried, and then just kind of coincidentally at the same time, a good buddy of mine just came back from California, moving his folks to Arizona, and we ordered a bunch of Pliny and Blind Pig from
Oh,
Russian.
right on.
Kind of brought all that at the same time, and he threw in about 6 or 8 different Pure Project Brewing cans of
Wow.
beer. So just Tara and I have been kind of working our way through those slowly.
That's very cool. Well, I am envious because I'm down to one a night, but I love seeing all the posts you have, because when you have 3 or 4, I'm like, man, must be some good tastes in there. But again, I need to wake up the next morning. But I am. Well, I
Gotta get
love.
good shape. So
Well, that's the whole thing. You saw my knee. I'm working on my knee, so I'm going to start losing weight now that I'm getting injections in there. So.
I'm talking beer shape. That's a lot different.
Oh, okay. I've been there too. So, but I love seeing you. We'll do this again next week. Hopefully, we'll have a game that we get to talk about next week too.
Brad, cheers. Appreciate you having me.
Thank you so much, PJ. Appreciate you, my friend.
Yep.
Let's see here. How do I get you back to the speaker view? Ta-da! Look at that. You're right next to Sparky. Once you watch the replay, your hand is like right next to Sparky's head. Right there. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. But yeah, so good old Larry Scott. Where would you do, like, we're talking about his unsuccessful new, type of media, whatever it is, what is it? Prestige Worldwide agreement. Where would you make a splash? Where would you go to start making a splash?
If I was Larry Scott,
If you were Larry Scott and you need to make, you
if
want
I
to
was
make
Larry
sure.
Scott, the number one thing on my to-do list would be to resign.
One can hope. One can pray.
Like just get the hell out. Let somebody else deal with
Just
it. You got your
realize
money.
you're in over your head. Maybe he can't quit, because once he quits, then he has to pay for that house in Danville. He's like, I can't quit, man. I can't quit, even though I'm getting paid all this cash. I can't quit.
Because like it's, I mean, in the short term, like the big thing right now is like you got the media rights coming up here in 2024. Those negotiations are going to start a couple, 2022.
Right.
So I don't. It seems like the Pac-12 leadership is kind of coming around to the idea that Larry Scott's not the guy they want to negotiate that deal, because he's gotten them into their dire straits now. So hopefully there's a move soon that like they can get a fresh start, because this conference needs some serious leadership, and not just the kind of whatever definite leadership that Larry Scott's been providing over the last during his entire tenure, basically.
Would you think it's almost like a full revamp of our entire image?
Yeah, I mean, just get this, because what you have right now, it was such a small footprint. I mean, just and the disparity in revenues is not. I mean, it's only going to grow.
Right.
It's not going. The problem's not going away. I mean, you're right now. I mean, when you think not from a national narrative, the Pac-12, what positive narratives are coming out of the Pac-12 other than, I mean, everything's kind of negative, right? It's like, oh, they
Absolutely.
were scared. They're just, the Big Ten's lapdog. They're, following. They're scared. They're still canceling games. They're,
Yeah.
they're never a playoff contender. You need something. You need something major and massive, and these incremental, like, here, let's throw some content on these three little, no put on streaming services. Like, it's not gonna get it done.
We have a seafood partnership.
God, like, just what the hell are we doing?
There's the conference is so broken on so many levels, right? It's just, you have to completely, for lack of a better word, burn it down. Because I mean, I'm actually at the point where I think the network has to go away for a while.
The network was such a I mean, you have the ACC, SEC networks, but those are embedded. Like, those are ESPN networks. I mean, that you're a partnership with, but just the sheer audacity of, like, we're gonna have our own network. I mean, okay, I give credit because that's kind of an outside the box. Let's own our network. Let's do our own thing. But once it proves that, okay, this is not working, this is not turning out how we want, the audacity and the arrogance to continue with a bad idea. Like, what the hell is going
Triple
on?
down on it, make it even
doing? That is a failure of leadership. Of, like, when you realize something doesn't work, and you have two choices: try to fix it, do something different, or double down, dig in, because I'm too prideful to realize and admit I made an error of grievous proportions. And it just, like, when you have somebody who just refuses to have that level of accountability or that level of self-awareness, it's harmful. And like Michael, just Michael Crow is one of the few people. I think there's two people that are still on the Pac-12 Leadership Council in terms of heads of the member universities that are
were there when he hired. State, I think, too. Those are the only two. The other 10 are new, which is
and so I think that, I mean, they're not blind to the situation. So I think that his days are numbered. It's just gotta get somebody. I got somebody has a damn clue as to some fresh ideas to come in here and get them to be nationally relevant, because you could have a great product.
Yes.
And the Pac-12, I mean, I guess you can make the debate. Just maybe they haven't had a dominant power. Maybe the last couple of years they haven't had a team worthy of necessary playoff contention. That's fine. That's one thing. But you could have a great product out here, and I think 100%. By and large, you have a good quality product. I mean, it's competitive. Absolutely. I mean, I think from top to bottom, maybe most years you have one to 10, maybe not the entire conference, but 1 to 10 solid to decent to not embarrassing football teams.
Absolutely.
A lot of the other Pac conferences can't necessarily say that.
No, you can't, because everyone's either top heavy or something else, but you're always going to see some sort of random parity. Thus, Pac-12 After Dark, and that's where the good product comes into play.
But if nobody can see it, then it doesn't matter. Then it doesn't exist. And when you're like that crazy was it Wazoo UCLA game last year? That was a Pac-12 Network game where it was 67.
It was a UCLA. Was that a Pac-12
or something like that? But when you have an exciting product like that it would captivate the country. We saw.
Oh, absolutely.
We saw what that horrible Cheez-It Bowl did. Between TCU and Cal.
Although when you have a power outage like me, you miss it entirely. But yes, as long as it's in someone's house, you can watch it.
But just think about just a product that's interesting, that's available, like a bowl game, like the Cheez-It Bowl, that was from every objective measure was an absolute god awful train wreck, but was the most enjoyable damn night on a football to watch, and to be on college football Twitter with the Cheez-Int Bowl.
God bless our sport.
And that's on ESPN Network. People got the entire nation.
They still talk about it.
A rare moment of unity over just how shitty of a game TCU and Cal played.
Absolutely.
But then you have like some like insane fun games that are and great, legitimately great football that the Pac-12 plays that nobody can see
Nobody
and that
can
nobody
see.
cares about because you're kicking off 10 Eastern,
Uh-huh.
11 Eastern, in a network that what 17 what was it the footprint 17 million,
Some
18
if
million,
that,
something like
yeah.
along those lines.
Something ridiculously small.
What are we doing?
Well, I mean, like you said, it's loaded with pride, and that's the other thing too. That's the other thing too, right? It's like everyone talks about that Texas A&M LSU 7 overtime game because it was on ESPN. It was a primetime game, and it was available to everyone else. If you were able to go ahead, like you said, show that super. There's always going to be some super exciting, crazy game. It's not going to be some blowout where you're playing, as you've taught me, directional Michigan, and someone gets and someone gets thraxed, right? People are like, okay, and they're going to move on, right? But if they know that you're going to have something like that, someone's going to tune in. And to that point, right? Chad's saying something about making an agreement with ESPN or Fox. Do you think, is that really the gap in making it up with ESPN and Fox? Or is it
That's
something else?
I think that's a big part of it. I mean, because right, you got to make those partnerships. So we got to get like one thing the Pac-12 did well is like when they made this first 6-game 2020 season slate is like every game is going to be on ESPN or a Fox network.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's on ABC, ESPN1 or ESPN2 at Fox or FS1, and none are on Pac-12 network. Great, that's wonderful. That's exactly what
That's
you need because
good news.
those every single like everybody most people have cable. They're going to be able to get all of your games.
Yes.
And it's not going to be and it's not like the good old days but in the before times when okay maybe I can go to a sports bar that has Pac-12 network or something
Right.
like that. I mean, no one's going out, no one should be doing that kind of stuff. You can get every game at your at home, and those are the
Exactly.
networks that you can't just. And that's why when I'm real skeptical of like when people bring up, oh, maybe make a partnership with Apple TV or Facebook or like, don't make. I don't know. I think what you need to do is you want your product in as many people's homes as possible,
And that's
and you're
dealing
not going to do that by getting on Zumo or any kind
Fubo
of
or whatever the hell else they're called.
these. There was a great TV show once called Breaking Bad. And one of the lessons I took from that show, a wise man
By
once
the way,
said,
my mom keeps bugging me to watch it, so now you're the second person.
hold on. We're taking a whole tangent over here. You've not seen Breaking Bad.
There's many things I haven't seen, but Breaking Bad is one of them.
Dude.
We went to
Right.
we went to Albuquerque for the balloon fiesta. My mom was pulling her hair out. She wanted to go see the house.
We after in 2014, Paige and I went out there. I covered the game, and on our way back, we stopped by the house.
They
Yeah,
were
they
people.
they had signs of like don't come anywhere close or like
Don't throw the
this place is
pizza.
monitored. Yeah, this place is monitored by video. But dude, come on now.
I know.
All
There's a
right, so
lot of
I will.
and then Clone Wars and then Rebels and I know there's
Well,
all
I'm
kinds of stuff.
that I.
We're
That's a
gonna
whole.
talk about Mando. We're gonna spoil Mando for all of you. So if you haven't seen it, turn off.
Oh my god. The Star Wars thing might be its own show between you and I here.
We'll have to then.
But so I'll say Breaking Bad is
I'm getting beat up in the chat over not seeing Breaking Bad either. So
light him up, folks. Light him up. All right, so just in terms of Breaking Bad, I'll keep it spoiler free. A smart, excuse me, a wise man on the show said, "No more half measures." Pretty good life advice.
absolutely
And making a streaming agreement with 3 services no one's ever heard about is, I don't even know if that qualifies as a half measure.
doesn't even
Different measure.
it doesn't qualify. I don't care if you tried. It's a failure already.
You are not going to bridge the gap between the Pac-12 and I mean like the middle tier, like like
Right.
ACC, Big 12, let alone the SEC or the current kings in terms of revenue, Big 10.
Right.
With these half measures, you've got to do something bold and strong and get your ego and arrogance out of the way and ditch this network that's not working and this distribution deal that's not worked for you. It's dug you already in such a massive hole.
Absolutely. The same
No,
thing.
it's one of those things that just like kind of seems obvious at the time of just like, hey, let the networks that everybody has show your stuff.
Exactly. And that's the other thing too,
Or
like you
not,
said.
but
And just we could probably get someone out of the business school and they could probably run it better. Right? Some new grad could go ahead and run it better out of the business school. Right? But then they were talking about, Chad also brought up moving the studios. Moving the studios.
oh well, that's a whole thing. Like just like let's headquarter and partner and like get in the most expensive place in the continental United States.
Exactly. Which is actually, even though it's cool to say it's in San Francisco, I've only been to the building twice. So
Isn't like the
no
SEC
need.
like in like Birmingham or something, or in like Big Tens in some random suburb like outside of Chicago?
Is it
Just
though?
like
Or I thought they were outside of Charlotte or someplace like that. Anyway, the SEC's maybe that's Big 12. All we know is that it's a fraction of what we're paying for the
yeah, I
Pac-12
mean you're looking
conference.
at like the annual rents of like 500,000, 600,000. What was it like? I don't know. What was the Pac-12 like? Something like
12 million.
7 to 9 million, 12 million. Like
12 million.
really? Like come on, guys,
Well,
what
I
are
mean,
we
and that
doing?
was the other thing. And again, it even reinforces how awful he is because the Pac-12 agreed to pay enough rent that totaled $90 million, which was the cost of the building. So not only did the people that sold the building make money on the sale of the building, now they're making another 90 million because the Pac-12 decided to pay it. So they doubled their
Where's
money.
like a rent to own agreement? Just anything. Just like the basic ass stuff. Come
So
on.
so now you are in TV, obviously. Do you think I'm of the opinion that the conference headquarters should be separate from the network. Meaning I would like to see the network and only the relevant people for the network in LA. And I would like the headquarters located elsewhere, whether it be Vegas, my preference is the Phoenix area or someplace else. Is that something that sounds legit, or am I just
Sure.
thinking, okay?
That anything that is not the current plan already better.
It's already a better
Already
thing.
better. But yeah, I mean, that just kind of makes a assumption that the network is a thing that lasts.
Yeah.
Moving forward, or as part of like the next deal, maybe 2024 beyond. Um, is that a thing, or do you just kind of do like an ACC network, SEC network thing where you have like ESPN's basically running the show, throw a new coat of paint and call it
Right.
another network, which again, you're still having the, basically you're offloading that kind of stuff, the overhead,
Yeah.
the costs
You're trying
associated
to
with that.
convince ESPN to buy all that. And they're like, nah.
Yeah. And so like, but if you can do that, or if you can partner that and just maybe get that in terms of the next, set of years after from
Right.
2024 and beyond, and then you hopefully you get that influx of revenue, things get better, and then you can down the road. But just what the plan that is been in action is clearly a failure,
Yeah.
and it's just that arrogance that just continues like to march down that road thinking, oh, we're going to do the exact same thing and things are going to get better and we're going to succeed, when time after time it's not, and you're
Exactly.
getting left behind further and further as things go on, because people are making smart, wise, and in a lot of cases common sense decisions.
And it's, I think, to your point, right? They weren't trying to eat the elephant the way Larry Scott was trying to do with the Pac-12 network, right? It's like, you know what? No, we're going to go ahead and partner and grow with ESPN and make these agreements like SEC did, like SEC Network, like ACC Network. They all did this instead of like, okay, forget you guys, we're going to go on it on our own.
Yeah, it's like Larry Scott, he's like, I'm the Pac-12 commissioner and I'm the CEO of Pac-12 networks. It's two separate jobs. Like,
And I have two titles.
yeah, like like it's just, again, it goes back to just the arrogance. I think just get
Exactly.
out of your own damn way. It's like like when you screw up, say, okay, my bad, I apologize.
Right.
Let's do something different. Let's make amends. Let's fix the situation. But
Yeah.
you just have
I was wrong.
don't.
Let's move on. And Paul Hornstein's asking, right? It's like, and why are the presidents allowing it? And I think, like we were talking about, 2 of the 10 presidents, I'm sorry, 10 of the 12 presidents, 10 are new. There's only 2. One of them's Michael Crow. I don't know I don't know if the other one's at Oregon State or someplace else, but unfortunately, it always reads like Michael Crow is one of Larry's biggest allies. I don't know if that is the case with Ray Anderson, but Ray Anderson's always on those Pac-12 announcements for some reason or another.
Yeah,
So
Ray's obviously a very respected figure. He's been heading up a couple of the subcommittees and some of the committees.
absolutely,
When I spoke with Ray, I sat down with him for not this year but the prior year
right?
sit down series episode.
Yes,
Pac-12, at least had some self-awareness to realize, hey, officiating sucks.
mm-hmm.
Let's maybe try to do something about it. And
Right.
Ray was kind of the head of that committee and trying to make some things. And yeah, it was still bad, but I think last year comparatively was better, a step up, progress,
Yeah,
I guess.
except for that Oregon State call this time. That was a first down, and I will die on that hill.
From last year.
From this week, from last week.
Oh God. Okay, yeah, that one. That's totally different. Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
But
We're still bad.
Well, that seemed almost like and that might not be necessarily an officiating issue as it turned out.
Okay.
So much as a logistics issue.
Mm.
I don't know if you saw that, but a typical game might have at least 8+ cameras, or 8, 10, 12,
Of
whatever
course.
cameras, depending on how big. That game had 6.
Oh dear.
So they didn't have the angles, and so basically, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. So they got doomed.
So even taking aside, the lack of you can't even get the requisite number of cameras for a Power 5 game to your stadiums.
Yeah.
To make a call that, in all probability, decided a win or loss.
Right.
Granted, it's a season that doesn't matter, but still, basic failings.
Yes.
Come on, guys.
Absolutely. And then that.
But hey, we got a fish sponsor.
And a Pacific Bank sponsor. That's
Here's
exactly.
a question: have you ever made a purchasing decision as a consumer because product X was the official sponsor of either a sports team or sports league or sports entity that you were a fan of?
See, you know what? So there was one that I did try, and it was MidFirst Bank, only because I wanted that ASU card. But because I live in California, I can't. But again, I don't know if that's necessarily the brand loyalty, or it's because they offered something because I love ASU, right? So that's the only thing.
I mean, something like, in this case, would you buy these salmon fillets because it's by the official the seafood sponsor of the Pac-12?
Hell no! I'd take a picture and tweet and mock it to Kingdom Come.
Yeah, what are...
I don't even know if they're in my grocery store. I don't even know where to buy that shit.
I don't what.
Where is it?
Come on, man.
If someone finds that part, God bless if someone finds it, and it's
I've always wondered that. Just this basic stuff like Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Is anybody saying I'm buying Coors Light because the NFL is we're paying? That
somewhat,
I don't know. Is that do consumers make does that drive any behavior?
Maybe,
or is it just because we're the official beer sponsor of the NFL, and so we're going to hammer you over the head with Coors Light commercials and imagery to maybe just push, okay, put that in your mind? Or is it just the title of, oh, this product has been blessed to have a partnership with my team or my conference? Let's
to that point, and I don't know who the brand. I don't know if it was Bud Light or if it was Coors. Who did the logos on the can? Remember
Bud
that?
Light, yeah, with the NFL teams.
And that would be the only way I think someone would do that, right? It's
I think that's a little different though, because then you're actually having a kind of tangible product that actually identifies with, rather than just kind of just labeling, product X as the official blank sponsor of sports entity.
Yeah, that'd be a really tough thing for me to move my dial to say, okay, because you're partnered with so and so, that's what I'm going to do.
I'm am I buying brand X over brand Y because the Steelers say X is their corporate partner?
Well, how
even
about
though I like Brand Y better.
even though you do you buy Heinz ketchup or do you like Cats Up?
That's I think we have Heinz in the fridge, but I don't think that my lifetime of Steelers fandom has played any role in that.
Right, exactly. And I think that's just
If we got
for
the other brand, that would be fine too. Because I don't know.
exactly.
It's just I don't know. Like they're spending time and resources on dumb stuff instead of fixing the.
I don't get it. And Paige was saying in there, it's more about visibility, not brand loyalty. So, but I mean, even then, if it's visible, I'm like, eh. I mean, even if I see a brand in this, like I said, I don't know how many people see a brand in the store. It's like, oh, they're part of the NFL. I'll buy that.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. Like you hear all this terrible music everywhere. That I'm not like buying their albums. It's like come
I'll
on now,
listen
just
to
because you're hammered over the head with something.
Yeah, exactly. It's like ka-ding, right?
I don't know. Maybe that's just because we're smart and savvy consumers, right?
Maybe that's what it is, right? We're just like, you know what? I'm gonna think. I'm gonna
We're
think
cultured in
about
drinking wine out of a beer glass.
cultured. We're cultured. That's what it is. And now it's gone, and we're moving on to water.
Ah,
Yes, because waking up at 4:30, I'm gonna hit something hard after the show.
speaking of ridiculous feats, did you see that thing where like there's a 12-hour wait at like the Denver In-N-Out?
Yes, and two things about that one. That's fucking ridiculous because it's not Disneyland, and two, it reinforces my opinion as to how great In-N-Out really is.
It's a fine burger. I will not disparage In-N-Out, but I will not subscribe to the hype.
So as long as you don't say unless you don't say Whataburger's better, then I'm okay.
The only what I can probably count on both hands the number of times I've had Whataburger in my life, and I don't know that they've had a good thing a couple years ago. It was like a buffalo chicken strip sandwich or something. I
Okay,
don't know.
that sounds good.
I don't know, but it's one of those like a late night thing. I don't know, but
DJ
In-N-Out
said that there was a fight in that line.
probably they got 12 hours sitting in that line.
Yeah,
They got
what else
nothing
are you
to do,
doing for
might as
12
well.
hours? Everyone was saying, it's like you could drive to Utah and get and come back in that 12 hours. Although someone was tweeting, and Paul mentioned this. I don't know if the lines at White Castle were that long.
12. No, I think it was extended. Like it was like 6 plus. It was ridiculous. Like
Yeah,
but 12 hours,
dude, I'm pulling my ass is chapped if I have to wait more than 20 minutes. And I mean, like, I can see the line, and I'm like, shit. So
when they opened the first Krispy Kreme in Arizona, this was I don't know however many years ago. Some friends really wanted to go, and we stood in line, and it was, of course, and when you make a decision that stupid, the universe has its way of illustrating that fact.
yeah.
It started to rain, so we stood out in the rain out in
That
North
shit.
Scottsdale for Krispy Kreme donuts.
And they were all over the place. They like opened up, and then they like boomed everywhere, and then all of a sudden they had to close them all.
Yeah, which I mean, I love donuts.
They're good. They're good.
I got to cap it at like 1.5.
And there's a nice back and forth in the chat because Chad's saying that Five Guys is better than In-N-Out. I would take Five Guys over In-N-Out because Five Guys is brilliant, and you know what it is? Their Cajun fries are the bomb. And then Paul is calling Five Guys very very overrated, but Paige with the truth right out the gate, it's all about Chuck Box.
Yeah.
But since it's 850 miles away, I have to settle for something else. When was the last time you had Chuck Box?
Oh, we had it. I don't know, several months ago.
Okay.
Like they moved like the grilling operations. I didn't go. She went, but like she said, it was like they moved kind of a lot of the stuff outside.
Okay.
In the parking lot. But man, I miss that.
That's so good, man. I would make that one. The Padawans even like it. They even talk about it. They're like, yeah, it's like we're doing Chuck Box. I'm like, should know we're doing Chuck Box when we. So we even stopped. I don't know if we stopped when we were coming back for the quinceañera. I think we did. I think we made a pit stop and stopped there and had some Chuck Box. We took our picture at the stadium.
Wise.
Said hello to Bay, and then got some Chuck Box, and then drove back down. My dad, being the ever wildcat, said, take the they drive through Gila Bend. This way you can avoid all the traffic. I'm like, man, don't do that to me.
Go to the Space Age Motel.
Yeah, exactly. Drive around, go to the Dairy Queen. I'm like, no. Chad Smith has never had Chuck Box. So I don't know if we'll have to get that to him. We'll have to figure out how to
Chad.
get that to him. See?
Wait.
All right.
Oh,
Redirect all that Breaking Bad hate. Redirect it all.
well, because I know he lived in Hawaii for a stretch, so
he's bounced around a bit, right? So I think he's in the Panhandle now.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not sure where he is now, but he needs to.
He's in Florida, Panhandle.
Florida?
Yeah,
Okay.
up there in the northern part of the state. So
Chad, my man. Longtime Twitter friend. You got to get out here.
Yeah.
First burgers on me. Come on.
Oh my goodness, I cannot wait to get back there and have me. So hopefully this all clears up so I can come back for some spring practices. That's definitely, I think, the closest thing that'll happen to come back. Just eat. When I come back, we'll just eat Chuck Box. I mean, I'd probably you'll want to take me to several other places, but if I stayed with you for 2 days and I had 4 meals at Chuck Box, I'd be okay.
Yeah, me too.
Lunch, dinner. That's fine.
I'm all for it.
I'd have to. We always take for those of you who are familiar with Tucson. So, I always have to mule Lucky Wishbone back for the family. So, they always do that. So it's a local one down in Tucson. Same thing with EG's. So always got
We're putting one up here.
I heard
valley.
That's actually very interesting because they did that back in the 90s and it kind of fell apart and now they're doing it again, which is cool, I guess.
Yeah, I don't get it. I've had a couple sandwiches there and
yeah,
I don't know. Is it the slushy things?
I think it's the EG thing itself, which is really definitely it's unique to them.
Okay.
The sandwiches kind of remind me of a Jimmy John's or Jersey Mike's, right? Where they just it's all the shredded lettuce and everything and the oil and blah, 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 and this and that. So there's nothing really.
The more shredded lettuce a sandwich shop puts on is a key indicator because like they're trying to hide the lack of quality.
It's the filler.
Mass. Yeah, filler.
It's all filler.
Packing peanuts of the food world.
It's that shred. It's like that's why I don't do lettuce at Chipotle. Too much filler.
Yeah, never do it.
Never do it. It's like it's out, and that's right, Paige. It's the slush.
Do you see lettuce thrown on sandwiches at DeFalco's Deli? # Mill of Food. No, you don't.
No.
Find
that's why you
delicious
say no.
meats, cheeses, and leaves of basil. Never any of that lettuce.
Yeah, it's just like don't even unless it's a slice, right? If it's shredded, yeah. But if it's just leaf, that's okay because then it's all presentation and everything else. Exactly it. PJ's asking a question. Real question. Everyone talking about, hey, next year with the potential vaccine and all, still not sure next year will be different in some sports. I just want, for me next year, I'm not even worried about the vaccine because actually I was at a doctor's office and I was doing PT and there was a woman that used to work for Genentech and she was talking about how the current vaccine, the Dolly Parton vaccine is working. It attacks the corona. So, the little things that stick out that attach themselves to your lungs. That's what the vaccine attacks. It actually doesn't attack the virus itself. It actually attacks the ability for the virus to attach to your lungs. So if it mutates, then obviously they'll have to come up with another one. So that was
the Moderna one. I mean, is the Pfizer one better?
I don't know. I think they're engineered the same way. I think they all attack the corona part, not necessarily it. So for me, to your question, PJ, though, I just want to see a reduction. I just want to see a low number of cases per day, like less than 10 cases per day. I'd be thrilled to pieces because in this way you don't have to worry about running around fearing that it's going to get you because someone has the zombie bite and they're hiding it from you. That's all I would want. So Chad Smith says Arizona, Ohio, Texas, Virginia, Hawaii, then Florida.
And Chad, you went to ODU, right?
I think so. Yeah, that's right. I think he did, and he'll see that in a couple of seconds. So
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then Paul's actually mentioning that as well. It's stored at 40 degrees. That's why it hurts like hell when it gets injected.
What is that? the vaccine.
The Pfizer vaccine is stored at 40 degrees, so it's cold as hell, and it gets injected and
You
hurts
have
like
that
hell.
if you get a vaccine that works well, and you can hot, cold, whatever, anything in between, you put that in. That's
I don't know,
fine by me.
man. That 40 degrees is something wicked. But anyway, I don't know if and even then, I'm probably not going to take it for a year or so out because I want to make sure everyone's up.
Yeah, and I mean, plus, I mean, folks like us, we're not we're not going to be amongst the first that are going to be
No,
offered it anyway. So
no, and I got all kinds of pre-existing conditions. So yes, shout out Res Devil. I'm glad that he is doing.
is he on?
I don't know if he's on out there, but PJ said that shout out to Res to his recovery.
Oh
So
yeah, Rez and Paul Angel, definitely. I
oh
mean,
yeah, how's
glad to see
Paul
both
doing?
those dudes are trending up.
Good, good. Because I remember seeing you guys were talking about that recently, so I'm glad Paul Angel's doing well.
Yeah, like he was talking like his oxygen levels are moving up.
Good.
Rez's are moving in the right direction because man, it's just like that's scary stuff.
That's some scary stuff, man. I can't even.
They've each been battling it what 5-6 weeks now.
Yeah, it's been a wicked run for both of them. I'm like, I can't even imagine doing that. And that's the other thing too. My parents want to come in for Christmas, but I'm like, man, I don't know. I want to be making that kind of a drive, you know, with all this. I mean, they could probably do it because they're going to rent a car and there's just going to be the two of them. They'd probably be able to get up here. But the other thing is that, you know, my dad's in his early 70s, so I'm even more worried about him driving that kind of distance and then a stretch of it at night. Like,
Yeah, and I saw it like even like with air travel and like Paige has family flying in. Like you tweeted that picture
oh,
or
from Phoenix.
retweeted of just like yeah, like oh god, like it's just like the people. I don't know. It's like you hope for
Yeah,
the best. That's all we
absolutely.
can do.
And Emily
Try to be smart.
definitely, and Emily says it out there, really appreciate those little things that we did because Padawan 3 and I were talking about it. We were coming back. Where were we coming back from? We were coming back, I don't know if it was from Arizona or someplace else, but we were in LA and it was a Southwest terminal. And I don't know if how many of you have been through the Southwest terminal in LAX, but gate 1 is like off the main terminal up this goofy hallway, and it's in this like closet of a terminal separate from everything. And we were just talking about how, you know, there was 150, almost 200 people in there, no masks. I mean, this was like last summer, and we're like, man, how weird does that feel to even say and think about now, right? But you just
It's so funny, like just like how our behaviors have changed. Just like when you see somebody out in the wild of just not wearing a mask, it's like you give them like the death stare. Like what? Like honest to God, like at this point, you're still not.
right.
Or even just like small basic behaviors, like I'll be in the newsroom and somebody across the room sneezes. Everybody's kind of like, and it is, it could be just allergies or nothing, just like or dust or
Yeah,
something like that.
exactly. And everyone's like, ah. So I don't know. Again, of all stupid things that I watch on TV is Superstore. The kids record that, and so we were watching Superstore last night, and they're doing a review of COVID, and so one of the guys comes in talking about how he was at church practice, and someone was coughing and sneezing, and she was COVID positive, and like everyone in the store kind of like backed off. It's like, no, you gotta go. You gotta get. It's like, yeah, exactly. It just completely changes your behavior.
Like how long, like after things get normal-ish, is like a sneeze gonna be like a social taboo?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
And that's the other thing.
ouch!
And it's like you were saying about, you know, looking at someone that doesn't have a mask on. And I've been trying so hard to get over that, right? It's like, you know what? I'm not trying to hate on you because I don't know you and I don't know what you're thinking, but
I'll hate on them. That's fine.
but I sure as hell don't trust you. I may not know you, but I don't trust you right now. So, and I'm still working out with a mask on. I go right. And I think I could probably get away with it because I'm outdoors. I'm on a bike path and I'm not around anyone. But I still have the full mask on. I mean, I don't know if that's good or not. But anyway, so this
Better safe than sorry
absolutely. I don't even want to mess
is
with it.
something that really is never really backfired.
Exactly. And so let's see. Chad Smith had something about the hockey arena, so we will ask about that one shortly. Paige is saying, I have to check myself. Why aren't they wearing a mask? I completely feel you. Nate Bartgazzi says coughing is canceled. If you cough in public, just go stay home. And then Wesley Franco, Rafton Robbie has a tattoo for this. Live, laugh, and love. That's actually very nice. Let's see. What
Life
did we?
is, or life is chaos. Be kind.
Exactly. Exactly. What was the other thing? Chad had something in there. Oh, so Wes is sharing that it's only red country, so masks are a rarity. So that's actually very curious. I'm not used to that out in Atlanta.
What's that?
So Wes is in a red county in Atlanta, so masks are a rarity for him, or around there.
Wait, in Atlanta?
Yeah, he's north of Atlanta though. He's
okay. So like Atlanta's like bright blue.
Yeah, and so, but still, well, they're kind of blue right now, aren't they? Given the fifth recount or whatever it is.
If only ASU could win the Pac-12 South as many times as Biden's won Georgia.
Man, that would be cool. I mean, it's like too bad we can't sue like the Pac-12 conference for like rewatching that game against Oregon and all that other bullshit that fifth down against Washington State.
that fifth down game was the last ASU game I didn't cover in person until USC this year.
Wow.
Because I was in a wedding party for my friend Zach.
What the hell year was that then? That was
2015.
15? Okay.
Yeah, I home and away made every game except up until USC.
That wasn't Connor Halliday's coming out party though, right?
No, that was
what year was that? I have that game. I don't know if that's 12 or if that was 13.
Might have been 12 because it was the game. It was snowing up. Yeah, 13.
Was late.
13 ASU blew the doors off of Washington State.
Okay.
2012. That was Jamal Miles opened the game with a kick return touchdown, and then ASU knocked out their starting quarterback. I forget his name, but there's a lot of consonants and such. And then Halliday comes off the bench, throws for like 470.
Yeah, he just completely. It's that whole battered fan syndrome where it's like I think Joe did some science calculation on it where no, I just science be damned. I think this is the one time I'm saying science be damned. Quarterbacks have Heisman type games against us, and just like their downs, they always happen.
Oh yeah, it was when Travis Wilson was Utah's quarterback.
Yeah. He did that one. He was like
quarterback.
He was like 1-3 against us, but still he would have a game.
Yeah, and it's a weird thing, and but college football is just an insane ass sport for so many reasons.
God bless our sport, but at least we could think about it. That way we could do. Let's see. Wish I had gamed right to live in it. Okay, so Franco's ride to Olympic Park. 2015 was the Halliday and fifth down. That was a late game too. That almost feels like
the fifth down was it was 2015. Yeah, I was my friend's backyard.
That was a Leach game. The one that was a Leach game, and that one was early because I remember the Connor Halliday game being late because it was dark and it was cold.
The Halliday off the bench, I want to say was 2012.
Okay, I'm thinking that's something what it was too.
Yeah, because it was a night game. It was snowing. There were flurries, and Jamal Miles took the opening kickoff to the house, and it's like, okay, all right. So, and then you knock out the quarterback, okay, and then not
he was
so
a
much.
Freshman, right? He was a redshirt, or was he? Anyway, whatever. He was like he had no experience. Then all of a sudden, he became the second coming that night for the rest of his career. It's like, of course, he became a butterfly against ASU.
Yeah, but and then 2013 was definitely the year that they played on Halloween and ASU beat the living hell out of them. Taylor Kelly went off.
That was up there too. I remember. Yeah, or was it down here?
2013 was down here.
Okay, then we were supposed to be
2012 was up there,
and we were supposed to be there up there. We were supposed to be up there this Halloween. That would have been
this Halloween. That's the one stadium I've not covered a game in person.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, I know. I would have been there with you. Those would have been Colorado and Washington State were my two games this year.
Yeah,
and that didn't happen. So I don't think I'm going to do the BYU game next year, though. I don't think I'm going to travel to BYU. There's really I don't have there's no desire to go. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll change my mind.
Is it? I mean, is it? Let's see. So next year the road games: BYU, Oregon State, UCLA, Utah. Have you been to a game at Husky Stadium?
No, and that's
Need
another
to.
one. Okay, is that
Need
next
to.
year?
Next year.
Okay, what
But
time of year?
That probably won't be out until for a while, but like the home road is known for the next couple of years because of
Okay.
the rotation. And then looking ahead, 2022. Here's a
Give me 22.
marquee
Let's hear.
non-con. Oklahoma State
I'll be there. At home or away?
away road game.
I'll be there. Stillwater,
And then I
right?
think they come to Tempe the next year.
Yeah, it's a home and home. I'll be there.
Yeah, and then Arizona, Colorado, Stanford, USC, Wazoo.
So that, let's see. So we get, that's 22 you're talking, right?
Yeah. So this 21 and 22 is the start of a new rotation. So Oregon and Cal rotate out.
That's a shame, but anyway.
And then so then 23, 24, Stanford and Oregon State rotate out. Cal, Wazoo, and 25, 26.
Do you think it'll still be UW as the strength of the North?
See.
Yeah, that's too far out. Did you see that Washington signed? No, it's like Hawaii signed a home and home with Stanford, like in the 30s. I don't think it's good.
That's the asinine thing about college football. You know, everybody's like scheduling these things 5, 10 plus years out,
Right.
And now we're making games 40 hours in advance. Like, and so like, don't ever like LSU kicking that stuff down the road.
Kicking that can.
I mean, like, let's see. All right, so I'm pulling it up right now. Like, ASU is like, they got the Texas games are the furthest out right now. So 9/11, 2032.
I'll be there.
Longhorns coming to Tempe.
All right.
9/10, 2033 in Austin.
I'll be there.
I just hope Gordo's donut truck is still a thing in Austin in 2033 because those are the best damn donuts in the world.
Are they? I love it.
So good.
Okay.
Then the Florida's in the swamp. You and I, we'll go.
We'll be there.
2031.
But then when's
finally
Mississippi
the return
State?
trip with LSU in 2030.
Yeah, they keep booming that. They're going to keep pushing that one out. When's the Mississippi State game?
Mississippi State is in Tempe in 2024, and we are there in 2025.
In Stark Vegas, I'll be there in Stark Vegas. But then the Stillwater was the other one that I'm excited to go to as well.
Yeah, so at Stillwater in 2020 and 2020 or 22, 23, they're here.
Yep.
For the Ralph Amsden Bowl will be August 31st, 2024.
Which one? Which is that?
In Wyoming and Tempe.
We only play but there's not a split though. We only have them at home, right? We don't even go up there. He told me not to go to Wyoming though.
Because with all the wind and stuff. But it's interesting because typically you don't see like a Power 5 team do home and homes with like G5s.
Oh, okay.
But then here's a nice the most interesting thing I think on the entire schedule is the home and home. This is a nice remnant of the Graham era. The home and home with Texas State.
Oh, that thing. See, the only reason those things are on the schedule is because there's some legalese in there where we have to pay the other people a crap ton of money.
Pay it, get out of it.
I would love to see that. Just like get rid of it.
Because what benefit is on September 14th, 2024, does it pay ASU to go to San Marcos and play Texas State?
I wouldn't even go. I have no interest. I don't have no interest to see them, and I have no interest to go to this.
It's a Todd Graham Texas thing.
Yeah.
Don't.
Just get rid of it.
They host them the next year. Yeah, the 2025 non-con NAU at Mississippi State, home Texas State.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Get rid of that Get rid of that Texas State. When are they in Florida? What year is that?
Let's see. So Florida is here in 2028. We are in Florida in 2031.
Well, hopefully Chad is back in Arizona before then.
What's interesting is ASU hosts Hawaii in 2026, but there's no away.
That's here in 26? So
26.
In 6 years?
Hi, Graham. Hold on, man.
We'll see. Yeah, hold on for 6 years.
Hold fast.
Hold on for 6 years so you can come back to Sun Devil Stadium, the stadium you helped build, just to play and probably lose in.
the iPhone has like this weird little feature. It's like, hey, here are some photos taken on this day or
Oh
whatever.
yeah, of course.
And so it alerted me to when Todd Graham led us on a little tour of the renovations
Okay.
still going, like under construction. We were all wearing hard hats and glasses.
Was
and,
north or the north side?
yeah. So like
Okay.
so we were going through like it's just and a bunch of pictures I took during the tour and for the story and everything. But I was like, wow, all right, cool. Like you just put a $500,000 in there.
Here's your memory. Exactly.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's still on the hook for those 500. Probably not. But we're on the hook for them. So anyway, that was some good things. So let's see, what do we got? So it's 2011, 494 yards and 4 touchdowns. Ugh. We would have been there with you, Emily, at the UNLV game. That does look like it would have been fantastic, but that stadium, UNLV is still playing in that stadium, which is actually always good to see.
Yeah, and so hopefully ASU can get there here, even though they're not playing UNLV.
Yeah, we get to have them. Is that a home and home? Meaning, do we play UNLV next year?
Yeah, they're coming here, and then ASU is going to Provo to play BYU next.
See, I don't know if that's
year.
what I'm going to do. Let's see, because I mean, it depends.
I think the third, Southern Utah.
I may adopt that Jonathan Poppy thing and go ahead, because I mean, I want to see you at the BYU game, but I may go off and go see a different game someplace else.
Do it.
Yeah, I don't
Paige
know
and
where.
I were going to go to the Egg Bowl this year.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
that would have been
because
nice.
it was like I think the initial schedule had ASU playing on that Saturday after Thanksgiving,
Okay.
and then the Egg Bowl was on Thanksgiving, so we were gonna head down there and then kind of like make it a point to just go to like some notable either rivalry game or
right.
just college football venue whenever my ASU coverage schedule would allow.
Of course.
So heading down to Mississippi, I think it was in the Grove this year.
That would have been cool.
So
yeah,
it would have been cool. But
this is for me. I'm still fixated on seeing Army Navy, of course.
Yeah,
that's still on my list. But I think I still want to see a game where it's cold as hell, right? Where it's just so cold that I'm like, okay, like I'm miserable, but I'm enjoying the game. So I don't know where that'll be. Although I
know it'll be some random ass Tuesday in late November when you're up at Buffalo watching some action.
You know what it is? That's probably what I should do. I should probably go see some action on a Tuesday. How weird would that be? That'd be a hell of a rate on the hotel.
Awesome.
Though. That would be good rate on the hotel though, because that no one, it's not no weekend rate. It's like, yeah, here's a nice suite for $99. Sold. Go to Kent State. Maybe that's what we should do. We should plan a Kent State road game on a Tuesday.
They're good.
They are. Oh, they're so good. I love them.
Here's an advice to athletic director around there. Hire Sean Lewis. He's good.
Sean Lewis is good. Let's see how. I mean, he's going to definitely be something like he's going to move on, and Kent State's going to be sad.
Kent State's leading the nation in scoring average.
Yes, sir. 69. Yeah, they're doing all kinds of points out there. So it's a good year for all these little teams to be doing well because now everyone has eyes on them right now.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you bring that up because, like, you see, like, like BYU and Cincinnati, legitimately good football teams, in the top 10. But like, this year when the AP wasn't ranking teams that weren't playing initially, like, so there was no Big Ten and Pac-12, like,
right.
so they get the leg up, and so that's good because
it is.
G5 gets the shaft every single year.
They do.
Like they're like every year you see like a 4-loss Texas. Hanging in there like number 22.
Exactly. It's like, why?
Yeah, and when there's when there's like a legitimately good G5, like SMU or something that should be well ahead of them because they're better. Like, come on, man. Like,
even Memphis last year.
Meritocracy.
Yep, absolutely. I still have a dream of being able to introduce relegation into college football. I don't know how that's going to happen in my lifetime, but that is my dream. I don't know how I'll make it happen, but I would love to see.
Yeah, you need
just some big Western
partner conferences and everything.
Oh, absolutely. Just and test it out here in the West because just bring everyone in, and then everyone will see how well it works.
Or is it like a 3-tier thing? Like Pac-12, Mountain West, Big Sky.
Maybe Big Sky is the D2, right? With
like 1AA.
1AA.
Yes.
Okay.
So like
That would
NAU
work.
can win NAU wins the Big Sky, they move to the Mountain West, and then they can over years move up. Oh, NAU to the Pac-12.
Yeah, or even and then Boise would become part of the Pac-12, right? And then it'd be all these bottom feeders that would be switching in and out. Like, I mean, yeah, it would be kind of cool. It's my dream. I don't know. I sleep on it. I don't know how I'm going to make it happen, but that would be so freaking cool to be able to do that.
Become president, then executive order that.
President of something. I think it's just the goal is to invent something where I make billions and then I can just buy it and just make it happen. Just Tony Stark the whole thing. It's like
just start a new college football
exactly.
thing.
Just buy it. I want it. Make it happen. Exactly. But there's been some amazing stuff out there. I think Chad Smith and you and Paige are going to go meet down in Auburn. So that's actually good. So that's already those plans have been
Iron
made.
Ball was also another destination.
That's another one. That's another one. I'd be kind of tripped out to see how we could. They're always sold out, right? So how in the wide world of sports do you get tickets to that, right? Like, do you just scalp them?
StubHub.
Yeah. Okay.
Pay a premium.
Oh, and that's fun. Emily's sharing it's weird not to go to Cleveland during the summer and people confuse her ASU gear with the Washington football team, or they have no idea who she is. That's okay. Ms. Emily, someone has actually confused this for the Ukrainian flag. So yeah, that's because SFO.
It's Larry Scott's fault. Brand recognition. Come on.
All Larry Scott's
Put it on
fault.
national TV. Everybody knows what the fork is.
Exactly. So that's it. So I know we're coming. So let's quickly talk about the podcast that you had this week. I know Hode was on, and we're talking about the last 2 weeks, having been canceled. But I think the one thing that I took from what's coming on, obviously very excited about basketball. We know that one's coming. But regarding football, he said that he's somewhat confident about a potential game happening next week.
Well, right? I mean, it's just not so much confident. Like we'll have greater clarity kind of early next week. Like Tuesday would be under a typical schedule for a game week. Would be the first day of practice. If they're able to practice on Tuesday, all right, maybe that's a thing.
All right,
because like in a typical in-season week, Monday would be a Herm Edwards press conference,
right.
No practice. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday practices.
Okay.
Friday, no practice. Usually, typically like a walkthrough or a travel day.
Right.
And Saturday game. So we'll find out probably early next week if ASU's not practicing by, on Tuesday, not looking good.
Interesting. Okay.
And so and as you mentioned, kind of as they were looking to do with the Cal situation, exploring scenarios where perhaps they kick the game to Sunday.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, I mean, everything is just like so in flux, and we'll see.
How's that going to work out for you if you have a Sunday game that you got to cover and the Steelers are on?
Well, it'd be fine this week because Steelers are on Thursday playing.
So that works.
Thanksgiving night against the Ravens.
Your second favorite team.
I was fretting that a little bit with Cal. I was like, oh, come on now.
I don't know, man. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of happy we missed Colorado because they look like a scoring machine.
Yeah, I don't know, but like
you're not buying them yet?
UCLA and Stanford are bad.
Okay.
Or at least defensively are bad.
But they held Cal to nothing, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, Cal's they hadn't practiced. Their entire D line had been out, not been able to
Oh yeah, that's right. They couldn't practice. Okay.
Yeah, they looked like a team that was like.
They looked like Navy. They looked like Navy early on this year.
Yeah, I mean it was basically like they hadn't hadn't been hitting, and it's like the first game of the year naturally has a, kind of some weird kinks you got to work out, just kind of get in the flow because practice speed and intensity is different than game speed and intensity.
Yeah,
and Cal just looked so bad. Like they looked like a team that had been out of sorts, that had gone through exactly what the kind of stuff that they had gone through, and the results would have. I mean, if ASU would have played them, it would have been as bad or if not worse. I mean, because they almost had no chance, and then you factor in 40 hours to prepare. And I saw something like UCLA was the 5th different season opener that Cal had to prepare for.
Jeez whiz.
He had like the 1.0 schedule, the 2.0 schedule, the new schedule. Then after the
delay.
cancellation of week 1, then they had to prepare for like UW or they had to prepare for UW, then ASU, and then filing in the UCLA.
Yeah.
No chance.
That's going to be, and for us, man, to come back next week against Utah, I'm not a fan of. But anyway, we'll see how Utah looks tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean that's
Watch them win. Watch them beat USC, man.
USC's not good. Yeah, and so
good
that's
enough to beat us, son of a.
That's what, an 8:30 game, or
Yeah,
I guess
it's a late
7:30
one.
for you,
Yeah,
8:30 for
7:30.
Mountain,
Yep.
and then
That's a late kickoff for them because they're Mountain Time. Oof.
Rob, do you know what we get tomorrow?
Football dessert?
Yes.
Really? Who? And what time? Well, I'm not. Who?
Hawaii's hosting somebody at like 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. Mountain. It's
Watch it not be even on TV. Freaking.
Oh no, it's on I checked. It's on CBS Sports Network.
Thank F for that, man. Because I mean, it's like
Oh,
freaking. Who is it?
CBS
Freaking.
SN games like with Hawaii and Boise State. It's Boise State.
Maybe be still my heart.
9 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. Pacific.
On
CBS
on CBS Sports. That's so good. That's so good. Then I have to take a nap. I have to take a nap. I'm gonna be up early.
So next week is the first weekend of college football. Everything else before this doesn't count.
Yeah, nothing else matters. Go Bows. That's right, go Bows. Although I don't know how they're gonna do with. I don't know how they're gonna fare against Boise State because Boise State looked really good last week. Why they couldn't look that good against BYU? Who knows?
Well, they didn't have a quarterback. They were on their third string quarterback.
On their third string, yeah.
Bachmeyer was out, and then Jack Sears, the USC transfer who lit up ASU in 2018, he got knocked out pretty early. So they're on down to their third string. I mean, and BYU is legit good. So year 6. Good.
I refuse to recognize that just because I'm bitter for some reason. But that's all. But yes,
that would have been interesting if that BYU ASU game happened this year with Zach Wilson doing the thing he did. Now he's probably not going to be there for next year.
Right.
On the NFL, being a first round pick, and
yeah, there's a handful of games tomorrow that'll be good. But I think it's like the late games.
Coastal.
Yeah. Let's see. What do we got? App Coastal. You're in the morning. Those are the first games. It's actually interesting. So it's all the 11s, all the 2s. There's a handful of 3s, but then it's all late games as well.
Ooh. Georgia Southern at Army. Triple option fest.
That would be fun. That's another morning one.
Gotta.
That's the other thing too. I'm always listening to these at on the radio. So I find a tune-in game and I'm listening to the local radio calls. I absolutely love it more than just the TV calls. Michigan Butgers, that's going to be a disaster.
Rutgers is going to win that game.
I hope man, if Butgers wins, I hope they kiffin freaking Harbaugh at the airport. That's how you
Iowa at Penn State's going to be super interesting too.
That is going to be good.
Penn State goes from number 8 preseason to 0-5.
I mean, I love Tim Healy and all, but I don't mind Penn State being awful.
And then you got like the Big Ten West. You got Wisconsin Northwestern playing basically who's going to represent that division. And then,
yeah,
if 9 Indiana can beat out Ohio State by some
dude,
miracle,
that would be
great.
Absolute chaos, man. If they pulled that one off. Cal at Oregon State, that's going to be interesting. LSU Arkansas, watch Arkansas pull it off, man. They probably will.
That defense is
the LSU. The LSU defense or the Arkansas defense?
Arkansas defense is good, legit good.
The LSU defense is not. I mean, I sometimes feel bad for Bo Pelini, and then I'm like, nah.
No.
Although I've said this before, LSU has lost 9 people on defense. Utah has lost 9 people on defense, but Utah doesn't have Bo Pelini.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a full day.
San Diego State at Nevada. That one I'm excited about.
That's the CBS game.
That's a CBS game at 11:30.
How great is that?
So, like you said, I mean, I've always loved having CBS on the background, and it's just they always got good coverage. The guys are always solid, and it's always never streamed, so I always have to turn it on my TV. So, UCLA,
Mountain
Oregon.
West on channel 1312, and we're good.
That's all it is. UCLA at Oregon. That'll be good. No ASICO this year. That's a shame.
Yeah.
We'll get it. We'll give it back. That's another one that I want to go to. Good night, Paul.
U of A at UW.
Blow them out of the water.
That'll probably be close.
Grant Gunnell will lose to UW better than anyone else in the planet per PFF.
Did you see PFF's rankings of every quarterback?
I only saw the top 10. I didn't see the full ranking.
All right. So they did, of the 127 that have played, because there's
Yes.
3 FBS teams that aren't playing. Grant Gunnell, number 27. And as they made clear in their preamble, this is not just based on 2020. It's like a all-encompassing metric.
Career
So it's
what?
not just
Career
like, okay,
numbers? Career numbers?
Well, just kind of, all-encompassing. So it's not just like, the one game that like Jaden's played versus, so it's like kind of all-encompassing. Like they ranked from 1 to 127 the quarterback situations.
You have to drink, by the way. You said the other team's name.
What's that?
The team down south. You have to drink.
So they have. I'm actually empty.
Okay.
So they had Grant Gunnell of U of A at 27. They had Jaden Daniels 108th.
That's some good hate. I appreciate
and
that.
To paraphrase, they said he can run, but he can't pass.
Jaden?
Oh,
okay.
Again, he did not have a great game against USC in the opener. Granted, his receivers kind of let him down. He was also off target. He was not sharp.
He was not sharp.
Very good with his feet, but if as they said, and that's what kind of I made the point that they made it clear it was an all-encompassing thing. If you look and say Jaden can't throw,
and you're not looking at the numbers from last year, come on.
As I tweeted last night, this is Pro Football Focus. Also, recently said that the Steelers are winning not because of Ben, but in spite of Ben Roethlisberger.
I remember you saying that. Yeah, that's like okay.
Which shows that they, I don't know. Man.
It almost seems like they're this big fat troll account that they just want to be able to prove out that they just hate your team, whoever you are.
It's like 2 + 2 is orange. Like you're not even just wrong. You're in a different sphere.
Yeah, exactly.
Of whatever the hell we're talking.
Yeah.
Really? Come on.
Yeah,
man.
that's why I should unfollow them because I'm like, but I follow them for entertainment purposes. So
it's just like those grades are just so
I
often
know
so detached from reality.
If you're not publishing your methodology, then we're gonna question you. Kingdom come. Although, damn it, even though PJ's saying Slovis has been off both games, damn it, if Utah wins,
and he got dinged last game. It looked like he was feeling it.
Yeah, because he's
like how Kyler was last night against Seattle.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, he got hit hard and he didn't look right, and you could tell he was not at peak efficiency.
That is wicked. That's wicked. Yeah, Slovis. I mean, I had to mute the show because we were watching the them USC game, and about the fourth quarter, Mrs. Jedi ASU was like, I can't stand his name anymore. Slovis, because they said it so many times, so I just had to mute it, which I was okay with.
Yeah, and that was a Gus game, right? So Gus Johnson.
I think so. Yeah, just over and over and over.
I don't know. I think I've turned on Gus.
Yeah, I'm like,
not every play is that exciting.
Well, he's feeling it. He's got it. I think maybe it's like he's like, how like Ralph says that Clavis doesn't believe what he's saying. Well, maybe that's his stick now. He's just like, everything's fantastic.
Maybe.
That's so. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, what do you got coming on? I know that you mentioned that you have the new one-on-one coming up. Well, what else do you have coming down for the people that love you?
Oh, so yeah, Monday, the Holland Woods sit-down series episode will drop. And then on this main Speak of the Devils show, we'll have a basketball preview episode.
Okay.
Special guest Kyle Dodd.
Wonderful.
Talk some hoops. And then
that's what I was
if
supposed to
there
be
i-
doing. I'm supposed to do a round table. Maybe we'll do that on Monday or Tuesday. We'll see.
if there is a game, we might also have a Utah game preview.
Are you going to do two different shows, or you won't know till Tuesday?
They will be separate shows if there are two separate shows, but
Gotcha.
there will at minimum be a basketball preview and a Holland Woods one-on-one sit-down series episode, which is recorded and ready to go.
And then someone decommitted?
Martin Lucas.
Yeah, who is that and where are they from? And
he was from Virginia.
Oh, one of
he
those
was a
East
guest
Coast
on the
kids.
show a few episodes ago.
Right.
He was the 250-pounder, kind of the super athletic guy. Could play, he played running back, projected a linebacker. He was like the first guy out of his high school in like 30 years to get a D1 offer.
Okay.
So this probably feeds back into the, ASU with the impending free agency. Some extra spots might not hurt.
Interesting.
Also, they feel pretty good about their standing and trying to chase in some higher caliber prospects in this current class. So we'll see. 'Cause, it's so weird. Like signing day or the early signing period is less than a month away.
Yeah, that's what Hode was saying on the pod.
Yeah, and it's like weird how like no one's talking about it. And like this here just goes to, it's weird.
Yeah.
No one's talking about it. It's not like, the home stretch and no visits and the dead period's extended till mid-April.
Right.
So this is going to be just uncharted terrain.
It's almost like you were saying about the record, it's like you can't even acknowledge the recruiting, right? It's just because it's going to be, you don't know. The recruiting is going to be so weird because even if you decide to bring some new bodies in that you're looking from other programs, right? It's just like, okay, do we want
to keep spots open?
I don't even want to be able to manage all that. But yes, I don't even want to be able to manage all that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're doing well. No. And so thank you for all this. I appreciate it. You coming on and we get to talk and visit because we're always messaging each other, but I love visiting even more.
Always great.
Absolutely. And so thank you, everyone. No announcements this time. We're just going to go ahead and hang out. But everyone, thank you for being in the chat and sticking with us. Wes, PJ, Emily, Chad, Paige. Who else we got in there? And anyone else? Paul, I know you're probably... But yes, and we're talking about Slovis's dad. His dad is the worst PE teacher and soccer coach ever.
No,
so there we go.
No, that's your game day sign right there.
Yes. I wish I could make it because I can't print these. It's like these are actually really nice.
Just get a big thing and a marker.
Just make a big old marker and then a makeshift Home Depot.
You're a shit PE teacher.
Signed. Signed so and so. Awesome, man. Well, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you always being here, and can't wait to catch up a little bit. Stay on the Zoom real quick. I'm going to end the show and then we'll chat. Thank you, everyone, for being on. Really appreciate being with us. Again, we have Paige, Denny. We're going to be talking about whiskey. We're going to be talking about soccer. And we're going to be talking about all kinds of other stuff. Yes, I know you know her. So I know you're looking forward to that one. But as always, everyone, thank you for joining in. As always, I love you. I appreciate you and cannot appreciate you spending time with us and building this virtual community, especially as we're together. Most importantly, make sure you love yourself and, as always, love those around you. And until next week, as always, make sure you stay social. I'll be on game day in some form or another tomorrow morning, starting at 6. I'll be up at 4:30 to be ready. So make sure you join, take pictures, and tweet at me. Tweet gifs of my goofy mug on game day. So as always, good night, everyone, and go Devils.